Guys ready? Good morning.
Got it.
Oh, yes. Welcome to Sunday Live Chat number 206. Actually, you know what? It might even be 207, 208. It could even be 209. I mean, you never really know anymore. Actually, I went back and tried to count officially, and I just kind of guesstimated that we were at 205. But Simon,
It's about that, maybe more. I don't
that
know.
was that was a classic Canadian about. I love. Did everyone hear that? Oh, that's the greatest thing about having a Canadian. Scully, we got Scully here. We got all the Scully. You're on the side chat as well. That's the awesome part. Scully, we don't have Scully's microphone working, but since Scully's a technician, I'm sure he will figure it out. He has to turn on his mic. We got Dre in LA Central back there. Simon Paul in Toronto, Canada. And it looks like possibly some other guests might be dropping in here if they can figure out their technical settings. Welcome everybody to the live chat.
Yeah, this is so weird because I know Scully's joined us with audio.
For sure. And Scully, yeah, it's just up on that. The only choice you have is under that little arrow in audio settings.
You know what I'm getting? I'm trying to send him a direct message, and it says he's not in the meeting.
Oh, he is. We can see him right there.
Yeah.
Scott. Oh,
Yeah, but if you go to chat with him, like send him a private message, it doesn't work.
I can ask to unmute.
Yeah, can you unmute him since you're hosting?
No, I just sent him a message that said ask to unmute. No, you might have to reboot your computer or something.
And we don't have Eric.
Well, anyways, it's all about just chatting about chatting, anyways. And this is like the dynamic of a live chat. Do you guys watch other live chats?
Yeah.
What are the other live chats that some of you guys watch? Do you guys watch live chatting?
I watch a lot of stuff on the Twitch where they do like little interviews and whatnot.
Anybody in particular?
Oh God, let me think. It's about everyone. There's so many, but my brain is like completely empty right now. I think who's
Hey, Simon, have you ever heard of these guys that have become really big in the chat world? The Full Send crew.
No.
I think it's called like the Nero Boys or something to that, but they're from Canada.
Are they?
And what's really odd is that they kind of come across as like really strong, sort of like trumping Republicans, but they're Canadian.
Okay.
It's kind of a little odd, but I believe they actually even had Donald Trump on.
That's pretty wild.
You know, they had actually the interview with Caitlyn Jenner that they had, the chat with Kate was quite informative. I mean, I always kind of like taking in varying perspectives and listening to all sorts of people's takes. But yeah, I mean, I was surprised to hear they're Canadian guys. Simon, you look unimpressed. Do you watch?
There's Eric.
No, I'm just like it's something that I think my son would have heard about. Like I don't know. I always don't participate in things like that on the internet.
Not
Like it's
necessarily participate.
I don't. Yeah. This is like the only chat thing I'll ever watch. Really, it's like I'll read things, but as far as watching other people talk, not so much.
Because we haven't been to Japan for now coming up over 3 years. I've taken it sort of like into my system to basically go into YouTube and connect with some of these people that do these live streams and daily shows where they're walking around Japan. And, there's quite a few of them. And some of them I've had yeah, Rihanna just made a comment. Yes, you do get involved. So what happens a couple times is there's a live stream of some guys walking down the street, and I'll be like, "There's a great sushi place up ahead on the left." And one of the times, the guy actually went to it and sat in the very seat, and I was feeling like this is like a next level experience where, I don't know the guy personally. I'm just commenting on his live stream. It's called the Tokyo Explorer. And basically, he just walks around. He's actually a Swedish guy. Hey, welcome, Eric.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Speaking of Swedish guys,
Yes.
yeah, welcome. Eric's zooming live from Oklahoma, and welcome. But yeah, no, there's that, and then I really annoy Rihanna by watching some of this. There's this guy called I shouldn't even say. It's called Only in Japan, and then so I watch a lot of his things just to see what's going on in Tokyo, but Rihanna tells me he is the most annoying person on earth to listen to. And, I mean, I kind of get her point because he's like a 7-year-old kid stuck in an elder body sometimes. It is weird, but what's really bad is he mispronounces a lot of
Two Scullys.
yeah.
Oh, we get double Scullies now.
He mispronounces names of cities in Tokyo. And I'm thinking, this guy's lived in Tokyo for like 23 years. He cannot say, well, the correct pronunciation of Asakusa is Asakusa. Don't let anybody convince you that it's Asakusa, like this guy says. Come on.
Maybe he's doing it on purpose.
So he is native, he's a Japanese
tell
guy?
It's not Japanese. And basically, I've commented several times, and now he has actually responded in his live chat back and says, well, some people give me a really hard time about my pronunciation of Asakusa. And I'm like, yeah, I wonder why. So anyways,
Awesome.
That sounds like a gang you don't want after you.
Scully, do we have volume?
That's true. Yeah.
Check, Scully.
Scully.
Scully, can you hear us? Check.
Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us, Scully.
Oh, there's still no audio. Now, what's the deal? We'll just, Scully, you give us a thumbs up or thumbs down when you disagree or agree with something. And everybody, Scully is on the chat on the left here. And so, Scully, just chime in on the chat when you want to speak. And we'll
You need a ventriloquist puppet in the other window that says Scully that actually talks.
Or you can just write down what you have to say and just show it to the screen.
Yeah, write it down and lift
Yes.
it up for the camera.
That'd be awesome.
That would work. Or maybe in the meantime,
You'd be like Bob Dylan.
figure it out. Okay, so one thing that I have to start this chat with today is that it's March 12th. And so what that means is from now on, it's official fish day.
Yeah.
Okay, so today's fisherman's would have been his 12th birthday. And so today's official fish day. And so everybody, if you got your fish shirt or whatever like that, have a little toke or a toast for a fisherman.
Oh man, I would have worn mine today. I was totally not thinking about that.
It is apropos experienzo to pay tribute to the little buddy today, sadly missed, and also our friend Kenny passed away like within, I guess, a week ago or so. And what's sad is that Kenny was the guy that took a lot of these great pictures of fishermen and used to take care of him and the rest of the animals when we were away. And Kenny is like just the sweetest guy you've ever known. And poor guy suffered 2 strokes and then a heart attack, and then he got COVID. And he a complete survivor and passed away. We think from another stroke. And fantastic guy. So big up to Kenny and fish together. I'm thinking that this picture almost alludes to that to me. It's like, look at that smile on fisherman. It's just like, yeah.
That's snaggletooth.
And you can see there Ken Stormont photography. Kenny was a fantastic photographer, and so every single day that we were away, he would send us pictures of fishermen that were just mine. I mean, many of you have probably seen them because I've shared them in the chats here. But man, fisherman. This was 1 year ago on his birthday. He was like in his last 4 months, and Tiger Lily there. Yeah, I miss that guy. So yeah, Fisherman Day. Um, it's also another day. Um, March 12th is the day that my dad, my pops, my real pops, would have turned 102 years of age today.
Wow.
And big up to my dad. We'll call him Bill Crompton because that's his name for short. And Bill Crompton grew up in Langley, British Columbia, second generation. Actually, when you're the first kid born in the country, that makes you first generation. Okay, first generation. My grandfather is from Manchester, so that makes me second generation. But yeah, my dad, also born today, 102 years of age. He served a better part of his life in Second World War, and I think he was 18 when he went over there and stayed the whole time until he was in the end, earning his rank as a flight lieutenant for the Royal Air Force, and basically was stationed in the UK, and he remembered every minute of the war. So every single day that the war happened, he documented in his head. And so his whole thing all the time was, "Hey, Kevin, you know what happened today at 4 p.m.?" It was pretty classic, yeah. And my dad was so supportive of music and everything. The only thing he kind of teased me about is when he first saw me with purple hair. I think he said something real funny that I can't even remember or repeat. But
wow, you're just like your dad.
You think?
You say every day, you know what happened at this time?
Yeah,
1 year ago?
Yeah, my
30 years ago?
her comment is that I also do that, and it's true. I don't know about you guys, but I equate so many days to a memory that obviously happened. I mean, Facebook kind of reminds it to you every day, anyways. But yeah, my dad was a good guy, and he passed away in the year 1999. So big up to my pops. Anybody else got anything happening on March the 12th?
Did he influence you to go to Japan?
Yeah, I mean, that was the best part, is that my dad was a member of the Lions Club, which is like part of an extension of how they set up Sister City programs. So the Sister City program is like, North Vancouver, Canada is sister cities with Chiba City, Japan. So my dad once, just off the cuff, said to me when I was 16 years old, he said, "Hey, how would you like to go to Japan?" And I said, "Oh, that'd be really great." And I didn't think much else of it. And then he came to me about a month later and he goes, "So you'll be going to Japan on July the 4th. And you're staying."
No choice.
I gotta do that to my son this summer. He's 16.
And you're staying for 2 months. What? What, Dad? Yeah, well, it's a youth exchange program. So you'll go and you'll stay with one family and then you'll move to a second family. And I seriously think I started to cry. I was like scared shitless. And so there's a chat, as a matter of fact, all about it was on the second venture back with one of my oldest friends, Scott Gerling. And so my dad was instrumental in hooking me up and sending me there. And at first, I'm going to say that it was like when I got there, I never really felt so distantly far away and so disconnected from everything that I was at that point, which at that point I was playing drums in my basement, listening to Genesis, smoking weed, like probably would have continued to do that. And then all of a sudden I was over there in a family in Chiba, in Inagay, with a family that barely spoke a word of English. And I was like scared I was scared to even go down to the bathroom. So I was like, this is an experience that, 2 weeks later, you start to realize, oh my God, this is a mind blow. Like, I think it might be something that like is changing my life. And in fact, it was. So it was an experience that I got to thank my dad for. So thanks, Dad. It's Dad Day. It's Fish Day. and also Chat 205 Day. All of you guys, I'd like to thank you guys because you guys are, I guess, in some ways either the co-host or you're instrumental in how this all has come about and happened. And Simon, you've done so much artwork that it's just silly.
When you asked for the thing yesterday, I'm like, can you put them all in a zip file? And I'm like, oh my god.
Well,
it was like a gig of images. Just
I have them all, of course, but the thing is that I have them in the chat of the person. So it's like I didn't do a smart thing and keep them separated. And so all of a sudden I realized that, oh my God, to compile all these all together will take, 700 years.
yeah.
So, I was asking if you actually had one. And in fact, you did. And I was sort of like, you were there. You were, you were saying that you didn't think that a lot of them that were here, but so we'll just go along. I remember that at the very beginning, you started off like this, where I would get pictures from the person who was coming on. In this case, Soraya. Was Soraya one of the first ones?
Yeah. Because you did a couple, and then they weren't like an established thing, and all of a sudden they started to happen weekly. So it's like, okay, we got to make a thing that comes up in people's feeds that they recognize it right away, and that kind of developed over time. But yeah, you used to just send me photographs.
Yeah, I think we did maybe a few tests and so on. I think maybe Ken Marshall is in the first few, and then a couple of other ones that didn't even have a Simon art to go with it yet. So it was just sort of in its incubation period, and they're all on Patreon still. So if you want to go back and trace the history, they are all there. But I guess we started getting official when Simon, I said, would you be interested? And I really thank you for continuing on each week. I mean, it's almost I feel bad, it's like
They're awesome.
Such an awesome amount of work. So sometimes, you'll do even like 2 versions.
Yeah.
And Soraya, fantastic guy. I absolutely love how he is, like, I think one of the first guys that performed live on Sunday Live Chat as well, isn't he?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Tim Hill was one of the first people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The legendarios, I call him, Tim Hill, our visualist and partner of Phil Western and Frozen Rabbit. Tim, big up Tim in Vancouver.
You miss him?
Yeah. Where's Scully? Is he lost again?
No, he's there, but no sound yet.
Scully, I thought you would have something to say about Tim.
He needs to learn sign language.
I think I'm showing you guys a lot of like unsuitable things here. Let me switch back. Scully, have you figured out any audio solution yet there? No?
Doesn't seem like it.
So yeah, that's part of the thing. Part of live television.
You used to do them with your phone propped up against videoing your screen, I think.
You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
The first chats were all like from my phone.
Oh yeah.
And then I would be like reflected because it would be me filming me and the guest. So it was like completely archaic and barbaric. Hey, Surachai, big up to Surachai.
Yeah.
Surachai
I remember
stopped
Edward
by here.
Caspell was the first one, right? Or one of the first ones that you filmed with I remember I'm like, I had to turn it up so loud just to even hear. But yeah, you filmed the screen. I remember that.
Was that with Edward?
Yeah. I think it was
Oh
Edward.
yeah. There was one chat I did with Edward where I couldn't hear him. And so I didn't know what to do other than just like, a whole sentence would go by and I realized that, it was not only, I couldn't really hear him that well, but it was like, I'm hard of hearing, so I have to turn things way up and I couldn't even get it up loud enough. So it was challenging. Yeah. We'll talk about like some of the challenges here on some of these. Surchai, I love how when each person came by here, they had a chance to go down and try out Brap. And Surchai was an awesome example of there was Surchai, Auto, Basic, just you name it, Joe Virus. Everybody came by and tried it out. Look at that. There's one of Simon's original styles of work where it was like, I think from the original Subcon days, the classic design. That's the
Right.
Neko Inochi t-shirt, I believe. And that's the Legendario, also a Legendarios, Ryan Moore.
Yeah.
We've had Ryan, I think, a couple times, haven't we?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
What was that? Seems we had a theme there for a while.
Omar.
Did it just
Yeah.
The
There's a
Legendarios,
Omar.
Omar Torres, tuning in from Atlanta, Georgia, our Atlanta compatriot there. Omar, are you in the side chat by chance today?
where's Omar? Shouldn't he be here?
Yeah,
Send him an invite.
join Omar. We need you.
This was a fun chat because I think that this was one of the first times that we've ever been able to integrate Patrick Paganini, the longtime legendary Pink Dot violinist from Italy, and it was, I absolutely love those guys, and together I thought that they're quite fun and entertaining. I always think Patrick is so animated, and once again, this is great art. Now, when you start these things, Simon, you take these from a photograph and then you modify it, or
That was like the first one where I got the idea to start drawing these things out, because what was happening was that sometimes you'd send me a great image, sometimes it would be a small image, and so posting them was kind of it would vary in quality. So, and I think a week before this, I had done a picture of Silverman for his birthday and posted it. And then when this kind of came up the second time, I thought, I'm going to draw Edward just because I think I was in the middle or I finished that book. So I thought I would just draw him, and then I liked doing that. And I thought it was a great idea to kind of keep doing it every week to have like a style for it.
This one you didn't do that for. And okay, I'm going to go on the record. This one was with guest Scully. Scully,
Yes.
no audio, Scully. Scully, I have to say, out of all the chats that was done, this one was the most hardest for me, and it was the most intense by far. If anybody's interested in going and checking it out, it's like everything about the story that I could dispel about the experience and sharing the tales with Scully there. And Dwayne's sister was also in monitoring the chat there with us, and I know it was a very intense, sad experience for all of us. So yeah, Scully asked to unmute. I'll ask to unmute Scully. Scully,
Oh wait, there. Not one of my.
are you there yet? Check 1 2, Scully. Say something. Oh, poor guy. It's right at the
Read lips.
when. Can anyone read lips? But I do have to agree that this chat kind of covered all the bases, and look at that setup picture too. I'm just realizing it's always so weird when I realize that those discs and the same keyboards and stuff just exist downstairs in that setup. Quite a mind-boggling experience. Big up to Dwayne and that chat.
Have you seen his sister set up an Instagram account?
Yeah, with some of the stuff that basically you can see that of stuff that she's finding of Dwayne and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what the
I think it's Quack. It's Quack DRG, I think, is the handle at Quack DRG.
at Quack DRG?
Yeah. And she's like setting up, I think it's like his mixtapes. She's setting up a Spotify playlist and things like that too.
Spotify didn't exist then, so I'm sure
No.
she's making it happen. I wonder
Oh, yeah.
what Dwayne would have thought about stuff like that. you know, the thing I always remember about Dwayne is that it was right at the cusp of the internet. So right at that time when Dwayne passed, there wasn't really more than Rec Music Industrial still.
Mhm.
I'm almost certain that Litany didn't exist until basically after Dwayne passed, and that was one of the first websites I actually think I ever saw.
First thing I remember was you guys had like a process website at some point before it even came out. There was some kind of weird site.
When we were in Malibu, I remember those guys, Bill Morrison and those guys, Tessa, and the guys in that. I can't remember. It was called the Process, called themselves the Process Labs or something. But they had like an internet set up in there before I even knew what it was.
Yeah.
And so I would go in there and I was thinking, what the hell you guys got going in here? And they would be showing me all this Rec Music Industrial and whatever was on at that time. And that's all. They didn't show me anything about a website, but I
Okay.
believe that they were developing that. So I wouldn't doubt that they were like very quick on the heels of that. You know what's really funny about the internet and that whole thing is that even email wasn't really standard yet at that point. People were still sending messages, and most of the time by voice answering machines and stuff still. So one of the first times I ever sent an email to somebody was I was complaining to American Recordings about, the bullshit at the end of the mix down, how they like just took away the budget after Dwayne died and we wanted to finish the album. And they were like, well, we're not giving you the budget. So we said, fuck it, and went in there and did it anyway. And I was complaining to them and I sent it via email and I thought like, I wonder if this will actually get there. Like if this will actually go to them, and it did. So it was a little bit abrupt, hard, probably a little harder than it needed, possibly needed to be, but nevertheless, it was I think one of the first emails that I ever sent.
It's so wild to think about,
Yes. I mean, when you think about like the birth of things, like, and also at that time, I remember when Dwayne passed it, there was no such thing as virtual instruments or effects yet. Like, so we were just monitoring audio tracks through Logic. And even in Logic 1, you couldn't batch edit like 8 tracks with one cut. You had to cut them all separate. And so I'm trying to remember if like, that was implemented. I always equate here I go, like, as you said about my dad, I'm equating everything to time about
Every day.
what was happening technology wise at the same time. So yeah, technology, the advancements of things have always been so, I don't know. I mean, we're all going to look back on this later and think we're crazy, but like, we're all talking about something that will possibly be totally obsolete in like 5 years. Yeah, so Don Gordon, man, I really have to say that Don, we were all agreeing recently that Don may be the godfather of everything, because he was the guy that at first, as according to Joe Visvari, who I consider to be the ultimate teacher of all the techniques that were eventually used with Skinny Puppy and then passed on to Frontline Assembly, and then of course utilized in Numb, and of course Images in Vogue, is that these guys were way onto how to trigger synthesizers by means of voltage and by means of like being controllable and playable. And Don was one of the pioneers of that. So I love reconnecting with Don. Don moved over to Vietnam for like 20 years and then now is living in the south of Spain. I think we've done a couple of chats now, with a second one with Don where we checked back in with him right at the beginning of COVID. And I think we're due for another Don. What you guys think?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I love Don. Big up Don Gordon. Ooh, there's one there with a shine and a no shine. Like it. Oh, Danny.
Yep.
I consider myself very fortunate to have Danny as a friend, in the sense that I know that since doing this, I've read so many times about them not doing interviews or not wanting to do interviews, leaving a lot of interviews or turning down a lot of interviews. So I was like super honored to be able to speak with Danny. upon the return to his home after the cancellation of the Tool tour very early in COVID in 2020. They were shut down mid tour. They were on their way to Oregon, and they said, "That's it, guys, on the way home." And the rest of the tour was shut down. And we talk about like the whole experience of what that was. Of course, Danny would go on to like do probably 50. Well, they've done 50 shows again since then over the last couple of years, and have made up for that. And I believe they also have plans for a tour again this fall, and as well as a couple of festivals that they have announced. Scully, did we lose Scully? And coming back, Scully. Danny's due again. I'd love to have Danny back, but one thing is that he's a busy boy. So yeah, big up Danny.
Dude, I'll never forget the day I walked up into the living room. I had just woken up. I was gonna go get my morning caffeine, and who's sitting on the couch is Danny Carey. And I'm like, got this joint in my hand. I'm like, oh, I didn't like this joint yet. So what the hell? My first meeting of Danny was at the house, half awake.
Oh man, that is
Me
awesome.
just going like, what? What's that guy doing here?
I love it when Danny drops into somewhere on tour and he has like as we talked about on the previous chats, like his 7'3" friend with him. That's always, it's so fun because if you know Danny, sometimes you'll know that Danny gets a perma smile sometimes. And he'll just, if you know what I mean, he'll like, oh, bro, like, and it's not from smoking weed or anything. It's from just, he gets a state of happiness that is, it just spreads. So,
yeah, there's a great candid picture of me showing him on the iPad how I was DJing wirelessly, and he's got that huge grin on his face. Like I can't remember who took that picture, but yeah, it was a candid from one of the many legendary house parties.
It was one of your surprise parties at the very beginning.
surprise party?
And it was probably a photo taken by Mr. David Tamargo, aka Alligator Jesus.
Yeah.
Alligator
Yeah,
Jesus.
David Pratt, the Danny Carey chat being leaked is how I found out about the Patreon chats. Yes, what was really cool is that they did a shorter cut, someone within the Tool camp, and released that, and that has had hundreds of thousands of views now, just on the clip of an edited down version of some of the parts of the interview. So I suppose you can say it is probably the most widespread of all the chats as far as like getting out there and being seen. It kind of was interesting at this point because people were kind of coming to me with suggestions and then connections and so on. And I really have to thank Danny Lohner for just keep on you'd be like, oh, Kevin, how's about this guy? How's about this guy? And it just started like a stream flowing. And really one thing I have to say is that, the whole idea of starting chats was my first idea is that I really wanted to talk with Stephen Gilmore. I thought that would be the ultimate chat. I really wanted to speak with Jim Cummings, Brain Eater. And I really wanted to speak. My first and foremost thought was those two guys and Bill Leeb. I thought I could possibly tell the whole history of how the whole band started if I can just get Bill to speak. And then of course, all of these guys were like shy and Stephen Gilmore was like, absolutely no way. Bill Leeb was absolutely no way. And many people are just that way. They just don't want to be public in that sense, and that's fine. Other names I will leave out here. But essentially what was really great was to eventually, see all of those guys end up being able to chat with all these guys. And it really made my day to have finally Stephen kind of like said some very complimentary stuff to me and came on board after investing in an entire chat setup, lighting, and even decided in the end that it had to be in monochrome. Very, very particular, which I super appreciate. And, Jim Cummings, Brain Eater was exactly like how Jim is. And that's exactly how I would hoped he would be. I've had Bill now a couple times, and we still haven't really touched upon the historical aspect of the beginning. And I think Bill's comfortable now after I set him up with the backgrounds on Zoom that to come back again. That just changed his life on the last chat for sure. So I started thinking about other people that, we've had a long relationship with over time. And of course, Kurs Mackey is a guy that we've known Kurs since he's like 17 years old and watched him grow. And just fantastic to see how, the whole thing has developed with Pigface and everything. And really the success of like that group of individuals, which has become Pigface, a giant group of really great people. And Kurs is one of those people that I think he's also been on a couple of times. And also he was one person that did a live performance on his last visit, which actually sounded pretty good. Skuska has entered the room again, people.
Didn't he sing for Bauhaus or something, or he stepped in?
As a matter of fact, he did. I think Peter Murphy basically took
Right.
Bill, and strangely, David J asked Kurs if he knew any of the songs, and Kurs was like, "Absolutely, I do. We've done these songs in cover bands before like that." So without any rehearsal, Dre, do you know if there was a rehearsal that those guys had? It's in the chat.
Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah, I do remember him filling in.
Yeah,
And
That's
David
pretty awesome.
too. It's incredible.
Rona. I think Rona.
No pressure, huh? Yeah, no, Kurs, great guy. The part of the Texas community, of course. Looking forward to seeing you guys in the show. I kind of always thought Paul Barker was the part of the Texas community too, but that's because he lived in Austin. Maleko and Josh and he was in Austin, but no, Paul is from Seattle.
Yep.
Seattle crew, big up. And Paul, classic gentleman, really looking forward to the Lead into Gold presence on the tour. I think he's definitely due for another chat. We went through his history and how he met up with Al and like the whole thing with Wax Trax. I found that quite an interesting story he has. Am I talking too much? You guys feel free.
Brianna.
No, he was great. Would love to learn more about the untold stories of ministry.
Yeah,
So he's due for sure, right?
yeah. I think hopefully before the tour, I'll try and have Paul back on for a Lead into Gold special because I think has a brand new album out, and of course the tour.
We should do some on the road with him.
Yeah, and we'll try and abduct him into like a room somewhere and make him speak. Actually, I'm certain that's going to happen.
The club at the back of the bus.
I think
You.
Dre and I are notorious for, instead of hanging in the Skinny Puppy area dressing room, we like to hang usually with our friends in another area to stay out of the way of the details. And so I look forward to hanging with those guys.
Yeah, Paul's going to be fun to have on the road.
How many of you guys were familiar with Skinner before? I don't know if you were familiar or are familiar with Skinner.
Yep.
Guy's fantastic artist. His chat I found to be incredibly interesting because he did a live drawing. As the first person artist to do the live drawing series, of which also Simon, you have done.
Yeah.
Which I loved. There's nothing more interesting than watching somebody who's a good drawer draw. Skinner was no exception, and I think that his insight also into psychology and healing, and we got talking about healing mental issues and stuff like that. He's a very wise and talented guy, absolutely love Skinner. Big love for him.
He bought a Simon Paul or a Subcon shirt with Simon Paul's art.
Yeah, he
Oh,
wears
wow.
Simon Paul's. He wears Simon Paul's art.
That's awesome. Wow.
So I'll have to introduce you guys at some point. But as well, he's also designed some killer toys. Some of the toys that that I collect and stuff like that. And as well, he's got his own shows on YouTube. Check out his presence on YouTube. Some fantastic little shorts and things that have been cut together with Wonder Goblin. It's like I think about a 5-minute sort of like adventure that's completely like almost like Evil Dead quality. But check it out online. Just search Skinner on YouTube.
His reels and stories are hilarious too. Like he's quite a character.
Oh yeah. Chris Corner and IMX. Yeah, hey, you hadn't done a drawing yet of this one. I guess Chris submitted some pictures, and this was really cool because Chris again was not really one to do much video chatting, and it was really cool to have him. Whoops, I thought there was another one. Have him on with Janine, or maybe he wasn't on with Janine on this one, but because what's he been on like 3 times or something?
Yeah, 3
phases. It looks like this would have been at the beginning of COVID. So Chris was working on his acoustic album. And so if you go back and check at this one, he's doing what was that album called? Echo Echo. He's making Echo Echo and gets into the discussion of that. Fantastic guy again. Same birthday as Edward Caspell. I mean, you can't go wrong with somebody born on January 23rd. Big up January 23rders. Here's another guy that we got to give credit to for everything and anything, because without him, I wouldn't be in a band probably. Well, a band other than a punk band. But Gary was the first guy to ever take things seriously, and he put serious energy and commitment behind Images in Vogue to the point where, we learned every facet about life through that experience. So without Gary, that would 100% not have happened. Between Gary, Joe, and Don, I can basically say that without them, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys right now. So big up to Gary. He's
pretty classic Canadian out.
Did I? Am I outing? Well, there's another Canadian in the room here, so we're allowed to, right, Simon?
Exactly.
That's what it's all about. So it's about
out and about.
And Gary's got a good out and about too. Eric, does anybody ever tease you about an accent in your area?
Oh yeah, that's a daily thing. Now I kind of use it as an excuse.
What do they get you on?
Oh, ID. Do you have any ID? Like idea?
Oh, ID.
There are so many. As a matter of fact, my wife is kind of disappointed that I lost my accent. That's what attracted me to you. So now she's kind of like. I wish you could.
Cool too. I actually, one of my fantasies is to have like a really broken English, like I can barely speak the language. I love it, and Rihanna hates it when I go into that mode because she says I'm being mean, but I'm not meaning it mean. I just really love, and you know what it comes from? It's one of my favorite sets of movies made by Andy Warhol, the Dracula and Frankenstein. A lot of the cast were Italian and didn't speak English very well, but nevertheless they still had English lines, and I just love the delivery of how when it's not perfect, but it's there's something great about it. So I don't know.
So speak some Italian broken Canadian English.
I'll do it later, but I'll tell you one thing is that when I saw ABBA live at Budokan in 1980, I was waiting outside out by chance right where they drove out, and here's another good out. They drove out of the backstage area in a gold Rolls Royce, and it was open in the sense that you could see them all. So as they drove by, I said, "Hey!" So did I actually say hi? Is that hi in Swedish?
Hey, it's hi in Swedish.
Yes!
That's exactly right.
Yes, I didn't even
Hey.
know that at the time because they all looked at me and went, "Hey!" I got hayed at by ABBA.
I hate that.
Yep,
That's awesome.
golden experience there. So yeah, Swedish, great. Charlie Clouser, I still believe Charlie did hold the record for the longest chat that we had.
Yeah, that was long.
So-
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Nearly 3 hours long, 2 hours and 42 minutes. And I loved it because we get into details about, being the technical side of things and in that side of that period of Nine Inch Nails and his whole perspective being brought into something and then integrating. I found it to be really cool how he got into talking about his score work with Saw and the series.
Yeah.
Really nice guy too.
And he did that live performance with the metal sheets with the bow.
Right. He demonstrated some of his things. Drum cell, Mo. Mo's such a sweetheart. He's an LA guy here. He's always traveling all over the world. I'm always like, man, who's your agent? The guy will be doing a set in Portugal one weekend. Next weekend he'll be in Ibiza. Next weekend he'll be in India. It's like it's amazing. I thought like if you ever want to have a work ethic about sort of like making yourself known in a scene, as far as a particular like drum cell is kind of like, I almost want to say like plateau. Wouldn't you say, Dre?
Yeah, he's got that techno vibe going on.
Techno minimalist Detroit world, and great set. Yeah, a lot of different side projects. Great guy, Mo. Yeah, big up Mo.
Big ups.
This is when the pressure started. Oh my God.
Yes.
I was like,
Yes.
Danny Lohner set this one up, and previously I had only met Lawrence Tolhurst one time, as we talk about in the chat, and so I was super nervous because, of course, when you have to talk with somebody that on this level from The Cure, I thought like, well, certainly I can't really not really look into the depths of his life. And I found that like in some cases it started at this point where I wanted to like look into it for about 5 days. But also I had a really good feeling about what I wanted to actually compliment him on, and that was witnessing him playing with The Cure at the very ripe early age, and at a time when he blew me away. The guy is a solid drummer, and I wanted to compliment him immensely on that. And I think that was great to also learn about some of the drum machines and stuff like that he utilizes in some of the early Cure stuff, like on Pornography. I always wanted to know like what drum machine it was on 100 Years and stuff like that. So it's like kind of cool. And also his feeling about when like they first played a Forest, like, did you think this song was going to be big? It's like kind of like it kind of gives you this feeling of like, wow, you're really just like getting the true answers right here and now. Yeah, I got so many requests to talk about the Vampire and the depths of the module, and we went in and talked about the module, and I believe we maybe talked about the voice tail as well.
That was my favorite picture of you and Dre, though. I love that.
Vampires.
Oh, I love it. That's great artwork. And Simon, of course, again, we all know that Simon also does the art for the Vampire module, as well as the Brap module and all the rest of them, anything Subcon. And basically, it's on point, man. That logo there is great. That Vampire logo. Why haven't we used that again?
They should throw that on a shirt somewhere.
Hey, we should make a
That
patch
is
of that.
cool.
Let's make a patch of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Done.
And then we started getting into, a lot of people wanted to see the studio and have us talk about like, the setups and stuff like that. And I believe that the MPC one came along, and I was just absolutely blown away by its auto sampling feature. This is where you could take like your old keyboards that have floppy disks and all that stuff, and it will resample all that stuff into the MPC. And then so I backed up everything. Mirage, Emacs.
Yeah, that changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
Introduction. I think I had my MPC about 4 years by that point. And
Yeah,
finally,
and then you were
finally got you into
great.
it.
Oh yeah,
It's
that was an
always-
update.
Great when someone comes along who's had that kit for a while and can basically just like in one day just rip your head off with info and be like, okay, you're ready to roll.
Oh yeah, that auto
I
sampling.
need you to do that again, by the way.
It was like black magic. Oh, I've got a little special thing I'm preparing for the tour for you.
Okay.
We'll get together tomorrow and do that other thing we talked about.
That's a fantastic image of the cats again, Simon.
Tiger.
Tiger lily image is just so good.
It's so spot on.
Spot on.
Right?
Hey, who's that? I remember him.
That
Great
Muppet.
chat, getting inside the world of the legendario Simon Paul, our fantastic illustrator, graphic designer, and art director who happens to be right here live in this chat. Simon, how fortunate are we to have you? Man, come on.
Thanks.
Big thanks are due all the time to this guy here. And, dreads are definitely on point. Do you have a dread maintenance guy or girl up there?
I don't. I did back in the 90s. I did, and then I shaved my hair all off, and then since 2000, I haven't had a haircut since 2004, and I just kind of let it do what it wants to do.
Yeah,
And
right. I
That's
haven't
it.
had a haircut since 1994.
No, not true.
Well,
Yeah.
This end here is from
Yeah.
1994. And
Like I like to tell my son I have hair older than him,
yeah. I mean,
which is kind of ridiculous, but
people say, what's the significance of something like that? It's like, wow, no way.
Uh-oh. Incoming.
No way.
uh,
Is he able to tune in all the way from the UK?
yes.
It's the legendarios Mark Spivey.
Hello.
There he
Hello,
is.
Marky.
Hey, dude.
Can we hear you? Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yep, loud and clear.
we can hear you. Mark, I'm sorry for it being so late over there. Thanks for surprising us with a nice drop in. What are you up to?
I'm just chilling out Sunday night,
Where's
yeah,
Gloria?
chilling out. Well, if you're lucky, you might get to see her. She might pop in.
No, that would be a special thing. I would say that would be very special.
Yeah, well, she can't be controlled, It's up to Gloria.
Mark, I really have to say to you, you've been co-host on some of my favorite chats. Absolutely have to say that it's because of you we've had such wonderful chats as John Fox, Graham Lewis. I want to pronounce
Gloria.
Jochen Arbeit from
Jochen.
Jochen.
Jochen. Yeah.
From Einstürzende Neubauten, and as well the chats between you and I and Edward and everyone. It's such a pleasure to do it and to have you there as the co-host as well, because you guys, don't let you guys get going on football or something like that. It's great.
Well, that's just how things are. Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Because for some reason I can't hear myself in my
It's okay.
pods.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We can hear you perfectly.
Yep, you're loud
Well-
and clear.
Hey, Mark, one thing
Okay, that's
I have to say to you is your album that you did with KK Null is absolutely amazing.
thanks.
All you
Yeah,
guys,
no,
right? Dre, Simon, Eric, you heard this?
Yes, it's
I-
fantastic.
I had to play it twice in a row.
yeah, it turned turned out pretty nice, didn't it?
I really love it, man. How did you just exchange stuff via the internet?
Yeah, we've never met. Here's Gloria.
Gloria,
Gloria, come on, baby. Come on, sweetheart. Here she is.
don't hide then.
Oh.
There she is. It's my-
Gloria is gorgeous. Look at her.
On his ears.
Hold on, let's go. Mark, say something. Mark, say something.
Hello.
There you
Can
go.
you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Loud and clear.
Gloria's talking as well. Yeah, Gloria's talking too.
That is a glorious, a very glorious set of colors, like cream. I'm going to say creamy caramel. Would you say?
Cafe au lait.
Cafe au lait.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Do you have any nicknames for Gloria other than Gloria?
Yeah. Mrs. Kisses.
Mrs. Kisses.
Because she gives kisses all of the time.
I wanted to see Gloria.
Yeah, she's so incredibly affectionate. Just, I mean, I've always had. I mean, you know, these Oriental cats, like Kevin, Siamese cats,
God, yeah.
they're just incredibly affectionate.
Well, they
Very
take
attached to you.
And
Yeah.
Tiger kind of has the we call her. Have you ever seen Tiger Eye Stones? The Tiger
Yes.
Eye crystals. She's a,
Yes.
that's exactly what their colors is. She's a Tiger Eye crystal.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my nickname for Tiger is Thankyou. The goo, yeah.
Well,
the-
it was
these names come up. Don't. I think it's a Gumby and Pokey sort of reference. And anybody remember Goo from Gumby and Pokey?
you want to check out the poem by T.S. Eliot called "The Naming of Cats." The basic story is that a cat has got a name that nobody knows except the cat,
Right.
and we give cats all sorts of different names, but the cat's going, "You stupid bastard." That's not my name at all. My name is really.
I think that's why I call them meat a bunch of things. I'm always trying to find their secret name. I remember hearing about
Yeah.
that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Mark, I've told the
Yeah.
story on a previous chat, but you were there before the actual event happened, and you can attest to it. Me and you, after Dwayne died, used to say to each other, "Kill,"
Yeah.
to the point
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
it ended up on our shirt. And you know the story, right? That
Yeah.
I ended up in a restaurant in late 1998, and I was at a table, and I was with one of our friends, Bill Van Roy, and I was sitting with him at the table, and prominently remember saying to him, "Kill Bill."
Kill Bill.
And that's something we used to do, right? I swear on my life.
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino was sitting next to us. What are the chances that he picked up that idea from hearing my Tourette's?
We'll have to get them on and you can.
I'll just drop the info again. Maybe one day Quentin
Yeah.
can drop by the live chat. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yes.
That'd be
To
something.
actually have that question asked. That would be brilliant.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear this at Highland Grounds Restaurant on Highland in late 1998? You were there writing. We saw you were writing. And after that happened, we saw that he had moved into the inside part of it. We were all sitting outside. He moved to the inside and he was writing ever more vigorously. Okay, end of story. Mark, you've been incredibly busy and prolific lately. What the hell you got going on? You've got you're remixing
Lee Scratch Perry.
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like it's all because of the label that I'm working with, Emergency Hearts, which is, in part run by a guy called Scott Crow. And Scott will be in touch with me. And I came back from I met him when we played in Austin, spent a couple of days with him. And he said, so, yeah, would you like to remix Lee Scratch Perry and Mark Stewart? I said, no, I don't want to do that. Yes, please, was the right answer. And I've just done one for Coil as well, actually. Well, it's difficult when you remix it. I've also just done one with Muslim Ghost. And I know this is really difficult because poor Lee Scratch Perry, the guy from Muslim Ghost, and the two main protagonists from Coil are no longer with us. So, but
one B.
Well, I'm retired.
Yeah.
What else? What else have I got to do with my time?
And I see that the Druid Live in Austin recording there, and you've got the Abrader re-release.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
still need to send you.
That's the nice hair, Simon. Look, Gloria's back, people. Eric, your mic's off. Oh, you probably.
There you go.
There you go.
I'm back.
How are you doing there? Are you still okay, Eric? What are you doing right now? I'll tell you
I'm
what.
trying to figure out if I can create some weird images on Midjourney while we're on here.
Uh-oh.
Since that's kind of
everybody will know Eric probably more so later with Nickel Face after we announced the project that we've been scoring for the last 7 months.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting actually.
Guess what I heard? I heard from the boss that I'm allowed to wear or carry the bag that they sent us that has the name of the franchise. I'm allowed to apparently wear that. So I was saying, well, does that mean I'm allowed to talk about it? They'd be like, no, I don't know about that.
Just be vague about it.
The whole bag gives the whole thing away though.
But Mark, I guess we've been as prolific as you, Mark, because Eric and I have been making roughly about an album's worth of material every month for 7 months.
That's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are
Really good.
things on that project. There's like a few different things in that franchise that's happening. Because I saw something. I'm not going to say what it is. I'm going to keep my two homies.
Yeah, no. Dre doesn't actually know because we're not allowed to say. So basically, Dre is guessing.
Oh no, I know things. I know that industry.
You didn't hear anything from us because we're under an NDA.
Nope.
That's
Heard
right.
nothing
So
from
it's all
them.
guesswork.
But
I think you guys are
I'm
going to enjoy it.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think I've ever made so much music in my
you'll
life.
all know within the next short while, but it's kind of exciting. Mark, thank you for dropping in. If you've got to fly out because you're in the UK time, which is what now, midnight?
No, I don't need to fly out. No, you're all right.
Okay, you're welcome to hang out then, as long as you don't mind us blibber blabbering.
Blibber blabber. Blibber blabber. Blibber 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 blabber.
We've been blabbering
Blabber,
about the chats and what the memories have brought and so on. And Mark, you're going to be a part of some of these, so maybe you should hang out. Let's see where we're at now on the list.
I know that guy.
Why doesn't it want to go here?
Let's refresh.
Okay, there we go. It wanted to do.
It just wants to sit on my face. There you go.
Yeah,
I know that guy.
at the return of Soraya.
I know that guy.
Yeah.
Mark, have you ever worked with Soraya?
I've never worked with him, but I've met him. When we played in Portland, you and I.
Yeah.
You introduced me to him, and he came over and did his Tuvan throat singing really, really, really quietly into my ear.
Well,
And
we
it
did
was
play with him. We played with him when we went back to Portland that time when he came up with the.
He was on. Oh, we did. We
Yeah,
did.
white
We did.
outfit on,
We improv. Yeah. We improvised with them.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? I
Yes.
wasn't
Yes.
expecting him to show up the way that he did and perform the way that he did. I have to say, the guy is like, what a performer he is, man.
Yeah.
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 And that was
Yeah,
with
I mean,
Phil, me, you, and Soraya, and I believe one of Soraya's compatriots.
the guy who was all in white. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I guess we started off 2021 with 2021. That's already that long ago?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh no, that can't be years ago. Really?
Cosmos.
We had
Think it is.
Cosmos.
That
We
was
had-
not 2021. That was just last year.
Oh, was it? No, it's
2022.
you know what? It
It is 2022.
is it?
Yes.
Okay, it could be 2022. Maybe you put this one out of sequence just to mess with us.
For sure.
But yeah, we had the Denver crew, Cosmos Mudwolf, Tina, DJ.
Maybe it is 2021.
What's TJ's Tina's DJ name?
Slave One, I think.
Slave One, DJ Slave One, and both from Denver. And Joe Virus at the time was from Texas, and hugely supportive people in the industry. Big up to you guys, keeping the world together. Hey, look at that, guys.
Oh man,
There's Eric. Eric,
it's a mad crew.
Eric, you had hair in this picture.
I know.
Yes. Yeah.
Somewhat
What a great image by Simon.
kind of
Classic.
morphing together.
I'm gathering that this was just at the time when Resonance came out. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. It's the summer. It's actually just more like shop talk. Live brap from the studio. You know, I look back and I saw that one of the first braps from the studio of the Brap SY1 was literally 4 years ago. It just blew my mind. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
4 years ago?
4
That's
years
crazy.
ago, the first. Yeah, man. So I was
4
like,
years ago.
yeah. Well, let's say it again.
Wow.
You know, it's really been a long time coming, and I'll give you guys a bit of an update. I acquired the case that we've been talking about, the Tip Top Pod 40, and I will say that it is very delightful. It works absolutely perfectly to house Brap, and I got a little shot here. It's one of the first things I'm going to share from my live setup. What this is this is a proto Brap that is being utilized in a drawer that is triggers are coming into it from my drums on the side, and it also has the
Kind of exciting.
the SY1 there being triggered as well. So this is the original. This is what Brap is modeled after. Is this original unit? So you've got the best of both. Brap being digital oscillators and this being analog oscillators. So beware. Yeah, this is the thing I was talking about. This thing is what I've got the Brap in there. I had 2 extra HP and I put in a reverb, 2 HP reverb. Works nicely, works great. Highly recommend it. And update on, I was trying to get Josh here as far as a chat today, but he is in a flight from Montana. He was going to give us a live update from the factory. There was a slight delay in the PCBs arriving from the factory, and that has put us, I mean, a little bit behind, a week or two possibly. So I'll just continue to keep you guys posted. Once again, amazing Simon artwork for what will become the box stickers. That when you receive your Brap, you will have one of these fantastic, or possibly 2 or more of these stickers on the box that you acquire. Pretty exciting. I really love this one, man.
Oh yeah.
What do you guys think?
Oh, killer.
Does that make you
Nice job,
excited?
Liz.
Killer.
Simon,
kill.
good job there.
It makes me kind of excited.
4 years.
Phil Gallo has been just sort of standing by because, of course, everything's at the factory. So he's had nothing better to do than to make a new prototype.
Oh, wow.
You may want to ask, what is this prototype? Well, essentially what it is turning BRAP into a synthesizer instead of what it is. And essentially all it is there's rotary knobs there doing these same controls as what you see on BRAP. It's just that a rotary, it's more set up instead of the sliders with the rotaries. And I think Phil just did this for fun and to tease everybody. Basically, basically. He's always up to something, though. Gotta love that Phil Gallo. And what's he called? That duo hybrid Euro voice?
Oh, boys. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some other name for it, but uh, uh, as far as BRAP is concerned, everybody, have no worries. The factory will not stop until basically that the units are out to you and they are done. So kind of excited about that. How you doing?
All right.
Yeah, Scully, I think we lost Scully is he in the chat on the side?
No, I don't see him.
Poor Scully. I mean, technical things can get away from you.
Is he requesting to join again?
He can join following that link. So basically he has rejoined a few times and I've let him in each time. But Scully, we love you wherever you are. I guess this is Simon when you first started doing the artwork again with Edward, a classic image of Edward. I mean, it is Edward.
Yeah.
I don't know about me on that one.
Got a touch of the red eye. A touch of the red eye.
A little touch.
I guess this is when they asked for an ad for the Chicago Museum of Industrial with Martin Ekins.
Yeah, the Post-Punk and Industrial Museum. Yeah.
You see, you went back and you redid some of the posters that you hadn't done drawings for. I believe this is one of them.
Yeah, I had like a couple of weeks where I didn't really have much to do, and I just sat down and kind of redid them.
Did anybody? I don't know if anybody had ever heard of Balaks Pandey before. Breakcore drummer from Mersbone.
No.
KK Nall, fantastic guy. If you ever go to Budapest, make sure, Mark, that I hook you up with Balaks. The guy is will give you the best tour of Budapest and all the food and its culture. And the guy is a fantastic drummer. He's played with members of Sun Ra. He's probably the aficionado of Sun Ra as far as I've ever met. He's played with Venetian snares, Otto. Of course, your buddy as well, KK Null. Hey, this world with KK Null is getting to be smaller and smaller because I also played 2 gigs with KK in Japan.
I met him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did.
His music is pretty hardcore.
He did a fantastic set. Both times. Argue
It's pretty loud. Pretty loud.
better than our set. I mean, it was
pretty hardcore.
It was so good, man. It was, and both places we played had such wonderful sound systems and visuals. The first one we had guys doing finger painting lights, whatever you call that, the psychedelic lights. It was fantastic. That was at Kaiju versus Modular in 2016. We did the first set with him, and then we did Kaiju Ongaku in 2018 with KK No, both in Tokyo.
It's funny thing. I was going to say the funny thing about that record is that his I was always taught by you not to go into the red line. Don't go on the red line in that mixer because it's going to sound like shit. And of course, everything by KK is like it's not even in the red line. It's through the ceiling. It's like boom, And
Well,
it's like even the quiet sounds are loud. And then I sent it to Mark Pistel from Consolidated, who does all the mastering for the label. And he was just like really polite. He says, "You know what? I can't touch this. It's perfect."
Oh, you know it is, Mark. I listen with. I have good ear. I have good ears of what's left, but like when I heard about it, it's just like medicine for the head. I just. She's laughing. Well, you see, I can't hear some of the things she says, and I'll have her have to repeat a sentence like sometimes 2 or 3 times, and So my sibilance is not as great as when I can hear music. But hey, that's how life goes. You have to roll with the punches. Amos Gaines from Moog dropped by and filled us in on his history and how a small town boy being connected in a city with Robert Moog as his neighbor, or eventually ended up basically running the development of the company. Fantastic story. Great guy too. You guys know Amos?
Amy
Is that-
is
Yeah, that was a good chat.
This is from Amos himself right here. If you can see it out.
Oh yeah.
Is that his brother Nosferatu? Is it his brother Nosferatu?
That's him dressed up as Nosferatu.
That's
Oh,
right.
Get an alter ego.
Amos. Big
Amos
up
is a
Amos.
fantastic Nosferatu. When
Yeah.
you've
It is.
never seen it, is I mean, they should hire him. It's just perfect.
Yeah.
This was an enjoyable chat because I hadn't seen these guys in since 1988. So it was so great to catch up with Egrom and relive some of the adventures with those guys. What a classic couple of guys.
Those stories that you
That was funny.
There's
Yeah, that was hilarious chat.
classic tour stories, man. We toured Europe with Egrom in 1986. We crossed the Iron Curtain with them and did everything that you could ever dream of doing. And the memories shared with those guys are just phenomenal. So check out with that chat. It's a really fun one. Of course, a Chud convention. All the stories are told in that one. Man, I love those guys. Big up Estois, J'Etois. Fantastic. Have you ever met those guys, Mark?
No.
Another Soraya? No, I think this is you. Basically,
Singapore.
having fun again with more Soraya images. Either that, or he's been on 600 times.
I think he's been on a couple at least.
Rihanna.
Yep.
Rihanna's right here, but she has to tuck her face in the picture. Come on. There she is, folks. Rihanna's here. Hi, Rihanna. Rihanna, did you like doing this chat?
Yes, I love talking about your smelly balls.
God, everyone, you have to watch that chat to find out exactly why she would say that. Rihanna, she's talking about my bowling balls, and my bowling balls, yes, they are scented. And apparently there is something to aromatherapy to bowl a better game. I have chocolate scented bowling balls
And blueberries.
and blueberry.
Oh my God.
I'm not
Is that a thing?
I'm not
Is it really a thing?
Scully, are you back?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
There he is.
Mr. Skull.
What was the technical issue?
My tablet just had a software update, and like everything, like all my passwords are all fucked. So I've been chasing the tail here. So I'm on the phone. Sorry. My apologies.
Good to see you, Scully. Welcome back.
Hey, Scully.
What did I miss?
Everybody here knows Scully, right?
Oh, everybody knows Scully.
Everybody knows Scully.
Everybody understands.
If you don't know Scully, you're missing out. Scully, it's
That's right.
ironic that we rolled up on Simon's redo of the Dwayne chat. I was saying that out of all the chats, easily the most intense one for me.
I would have to agree, man. That's a very heavy content there.
It was heavy duty. I think it was the only one where I was literally like holding back some tears at some points. And
Yeah. Same.
yeah, same. That was a hard one to do, but I think it was good to do. I think it felt cathartic.
It feels every time I'm able to talk to somebody about Dwayne, it kind of helps me because I appreciate my relationship with him more every time I talk about him. I mean, I always think it's sort of a cliche thing to say, well, he was such a talent and it's such a loss and stuff, but it truly is. And I never ever take that for granted. So whenever I talk about him and, it's very emotional. A lot of stuff comes up.
For sure. Eric has a really classic story that I don't know if Mark or if you guys know, but I'll let you tell it, Eric. But basically, Eric met Dwayne at a very young age. What were you, 13 or 14?
Yeah, in Gothenburg.
when we played
Ah.
Gothenburg, Sweden.
Yeah, what who was
Apparently,
that? Was that
Ogre
at
and I
Grum
were
or was it Edward?
Edward, wait, in 88? That
Was
was
Edward.
Edward.
It was Edward.
That was Edward.
So you came to the venue as a very young kid, and apparently Ogre and I had been taken to an interview, and you were left alone or something in the venue. And
Yep.
Dwayne came up to you?
Yeah, it just kind of came up to me. It's like, hey, come here. Let me show you something. So he took me up to the keyboard stands, and I'll never forget, like, hey, just press that key, and like boom, like the whole hall kind of just shook. But it was yeah, it was great. That was my first experience, and he's like, hey, don't ever give up on the music. You never know, you might be in Skinny Puppy one day. You know, he was a really cool guy. And it was really kind of a surreal experience. But he definitely just kind of, you could tell that it was just a really nice personality, and you know.
What a great experience, because Gothenburg, or also known as Gothenburg, in Sweden, has been one of the great cities to play for Skinny Puppy in Europe. Probably, just like Chicago is like the home base, or Denver is the home base for industrial music. Like Gothenburg has a heart that, like, basically, real hard depth support of Skinny Puppy there. Why is that?
I don't know. It is quite strange, actually. The industrial scene is like the like the little Vancouver, like all the bands, the Canadian industrial, the EBM stuff. It was really, really big when I grew up.
It's a port city as well, isn't it?
I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh,
It's a
yeah.
port.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is.
Same as Vancouver. Yeah.
Yep. It is definitely. It's a huge, cut to get the old Viking connection. You got Norway north, Denmark south, a lot of fishing and so forth. But yeah, I do remember, Kevin, you did something with some fire. What was it, like a fire
Grinder.
retardant or something like that?
Oh, I blew off the fire extinguisher.
Yeah, you were.
It's actually in the Euro video. If you go back and check the Euro trauma, I think it's about part 10, or maybe it's earlier than that. There's 18 parts to Euro trauma here on Patreon. Go check out one of the parts, and it has that in it, where I accidentally, well, I think I didn't accidentally, but I blew it off. Everyone got really upset.
But it was, I mean, those concert, I mean, that concert, was it 88 or 86? I mean, the one thing that I tell you is like the sound quality, so good.
That's Greg Reilly in 1988.
I mean, it was loud.
I've had a question for the chat too. What about Greg Reilly? I've asked Greg, and Greg says I would be the most boring chat, and I said I don't think so.
No.
Oh man, I love Greg.
That would be great.
Yeah, a lot of people that I ask think like that they'd be boring, and I can't convince them until
Get him and his brother together.
that would be wonderful.
Really brothers.
Maybe we got to work on that. But Eric, didn't you also see Download when we played Gothenburg in 1996?
I did. It
Oh,
was
Mark,
another loud concert.
Sorry, pardon? Can't hear you.
Yeah.
My body's still vibrating from Kevin's drum riser.
I mean, it was one of those like where your heartbeat starts skipping and your eyeball starts like vibrating. You got to take some anti-nausea medication. No, it was great. It was awesome.
I remember that show. I remember that show for a reason, that I actually blew some muscles in my ribs at that show, screaming or something, because for the next 2 or 3 shows after that, I think the show after that we were in Stockholm, I was in absolute agony. Every time I breathed, I could feel my kind of intercostal muscles just going like that. So I remember that show quite well. Yeah.
I remember the guy
For
from
the pain.
Nord came to the show and brought me the first Nord lead.
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome. Very
You
sweet.
still have that one?
Yes, I do. Yes. Um, I also remember that there was a couple of guys in the audience, Eric. I don't think it was you, but there was a couple of guys that were doing the classics. I'm going to stand right near the front, but I'm just going to stand there with my arms folded the whole time.
Typical Swedish.
Yeah. So at one point, I stood up and I actually stepped outside my drums and emulated their stance. I just I stared at them for this whole part of this piece that I guess I was being a little perturby, but
Yeah, Swedish personalities is not the most outgoing. I think there's like a commercial of Swedish people, like there's at the bus stop, and everybody is like, 10 feet apart, but they don't even want to talk to each other.
it was also in the days that I remember if Phil and I talked to anybody about wanting to smoke marijuana, that it was the no word of the century at that moment in Sweden. So we found out pretty quickly. It was like, why are people freaking out so bad? Or you mentioned the word marijuana.
I think it was like not so much marijuana, hashish was
Hash.
the big thing in Sweden, I think.
Well, actually, yeah, I think we mentioned that word and we got in even more trouble. So it was
Oh my God, 96. That's when you taught me the meaning of the word plateaued.
No, you taught me.
No, that you were going around to everyone and looking them dead in their face and making sure they were plateaued enough before the show. Because I was just kind of down there all awestruck, meeting everybody. I believe I met Mark, and there was like everybody, and Phil, and
But Dre, who brought the most insanely deadly herb of all time?
well,
You did.
you gotta do what you gotta do.
So that is why everyone was plateaued. And
Oh
yeah,
man,
we did
I just
come up
remember
with
holding
that
on to the side railing. That
as a
show
result of
Oh
touring.
my God.
so loud.
We had hit the plateau so many times, but musically, emotionally, mentally, in all ways, shape, or form. But I do remember, Mark, that on the Eyes of Stanley Payne tour, that Jamiroquai used to follow us around.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Was he wearing a silly hat?
No, just the music, not Jamiroquai. But there was a band that kept following us about. It was Neurosis. When we were on tour, everywhere we went, we were bumping into Neurosis. So I didn't know, but they'd be like in the same. You'd pull into this kind of rest stop where the Germans were eating their potatoes and their bratwurst, and there's these strange guys there, Neurosis. Everywhere you went, it was like Neurosis.
We're good guys. Stayed at their house in the Bay Area when I was on tour with Christ Driver. So yeah, they're like old buddies. Good guys.
Yeah.
They've been around forever.
Well, it looks like was that redo on Curse poster? Could be.
It's a redo, yeah.
Yeah, Curse got redone with even redder eyes.
Plateaued.
Oh, consolidated. Hey, Scully, you don't have to feel bad because
Oh yeah, Adam. We didn't have visuals for
Adam
Adam.
from Consolidated couldn't figure out how to join via visual, so he did the whole chat just with audio. And
No, I remember that one.
yeah, luckily Mark was there to fill in. But I guess Adam's image was it's kind of cool because he's kind of disguised his image.
Yep.
But a great chat with the boys from San Francisco. And then after that, they released the album. It seemed like they had a resurgence. Wouldn't you say, Dre?
Yeah. What they were telling me is that they were really inspired by the tribute record that came out
Right.
for them. Yours truly has cut on there with his old band. We did Dog and Pony Show. But yeah, they heard that and they were like really inspired to like get back at it. And I must say, they were like the only guys I know that could do a kind of a political commentary in that form of music this day. We needed them. Now they're back.
Yeah.
Good people.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I did that one of the very first Consolidated tours, and it was a van tour, of the United States. And if people aren't familiar with the way they were doing their shows, is when they conclude the show, rather than go off stage, come back and do the encore, they would turn on the house lights and they'd basically make a big Q&A thing with the audience, and people would come up and you know, the you know, you'd get like people that were, you know, bringing up some issues and stuff like that. It was kind of like, you know, like a Donahue show or something kind of like that. And then every like third or fourth one was like, hey man, shut up and play more music, you know, which is why they got the album title. You know, and like we were actually recording all of those open mic things, and a lot of those open mic things turned into samples that went on the other records and stuff. It was just priceless, and a real like snapshot of America during the first Gulf War, you know.
Yeah. Sure.
Being on tour with Consolidated, like, you know, it's like you're qualified to, like, you know, join any political debate for, you know, just about any topic.
Did you do that show at the Love Affair in the 90s?
No, I didn't. I don't think we did the Love Affair on that tour.
I know Kevin was there because
I think that was a one-off. I don't think that was a tour.
Yeah, we saw the flyer for that somewhere, and we're like, oh, we just jetted right up there.
We played the
Adam.
Fully agree. Jack Dangers would make an excellent chat, everybody saying on the side. Yeah. That's something that I haven't had success with contact, even though we are buddies with Jack, thanks to Scully. We've been dropping in on Jack a few times over the years.
Try to get in touch with him through Mark. Mark can probably get in touch with him. Okay. Mark Pistol.
Aaron Funk, I have asked him 2 or 3 times, and he told me, he quoted me, I'm not a social person. I don't want to talk about it. And he said, I don't make music for anybody but myself. And so that's all I would just end up saying. And that's Connie Roberts. So yeah, I really would love to have Aaron. Daniel Meyer's been on a couple of times. Yeah. I think Scully, we're good to have Jack on and have Scully on as a co-host, because we go way back. Hey, Connie.
Jack is one of a really great guy to be on tour with, really mellow guy. And of the many people that I've toured with and worked with, he is one of these pure musical geniuses. The guy wakes up and he farts music. You know what I mean? It's brilliant.
Has proven himself, 2 decades ago to be a genius. Visiting his studio, one thing I've always loved about his studio was how impeccable it is.
Yeah.
Impeccably set up.
He's all self-taught. He's all self-taught too.
Yeah.
You know?
Phenomenal talent. Yeah, well, I'm going to try and get Jack. That's one guy I really haven't given up on. I haven't given up on Adrian Sherwood. I haven't given up on Scientist. There's a couple of other ones that I have. Oh, Chris.
Hey,
from Decree, another Vancouver crew. Big up, Chris. We went through the whole Frontline Assembly, Ohm Electronic, Delirium. He's been a part of that crew for so long. Fun chat.
Reese and Chris used to live next door to us in the Beatty Street apartment.
Right. They did.
I saw him down here at the portion control. He was at the portion control show down here in LA. So we got to catch up.
All right. A 420. I don't remember doing a 420 chat. I guess we did.
Maybe that was
I remember Chris's brother.
That was a good one then.
I remember Chris's brother as well. Forgotten his name now.
Kent.
He's an artist as well. Kent. Yeah, Kent.
Yeah. This was one, as I said, was one of the ones that I was hoping when I first thought of like doing these chats was to have Jim on and open the door to his world. I'm kind of surprised that Jim hasn't become more famous in some weird ways, for his work and everything that he does. The guy still does exactly what he did back in the 80s, continues on. And, as far as Vancouver history is concerned, he is the original punk. You know, when you were walking around Vancouver in the day, you know, Jim was like the guy. It's just, you know, you couldn't beat like Jim's image, Jim's art, Jim's whole take on everything, the Brain Eaters. I really enjoyed that one.
Hey, Simon, I don't like to say this, but that image does have an uncanny resemblance to Michael Jackson. At a certain point in his transformation. The only thing that's different, is that nose is too wide for Michael Jackson because he got the kind of he got the kind of like sculpt going on, you know. But yeah, so if you.
Oh yeah, man! All these year-end things. Oh, Mr. D. Plevin.
Hey, Bill Plevin.
Dale Plevin. You got. I mean, it was interesting to see that he is living in a church, and he actually runs a church. He lives in the basement of an old stone church in Vancouver. What is he, like a bishop or something? He goes into the full detail in this chat, and of course, was the guy to play bass guitar on Glass Houses, Texture, Nature's Revenge, Reclamation. Whenever I needed a bass guitar player to do fretless bass, I called on Mr. D. Plevin. And he still has his bass guitars, and he tells the stories of all that stuff. Gotta love Mr. D, Mr. P. He was the one that invented the word "ma." Scully knows that one.
I know that one.
Yeah. It basically means, to those of you who would like to implement that word into your language out there, it basically means, can you grab me a beer?
Or it could be a cigarette. Could be a cigarette too.
It was originally a cigarette, but since we all quit smoking, then it became a beer. So if someone's going near the fridge or something and you know, bah.
Nobody else.
See if it works in your household. And you must post it if it works.
Let's
Yeah,
try
if
that
it doesn't-
tonight.
If it doesn't work, try pinching your nose.
Yeah. What's really funny is that the kids, you know, my stepkids, Rihanna's kids, basically learned that at a young age. So I say the kids run and go grab them. Yeah, that's it. Danny, big up, Danny. That's a redo on the Danny one. Of course, we're due for the return of Danny, and no, Danny doesn't have eyes that red. Danny does not smoke weed with me whenever I
black light poster edition.
Yeah, black light poster edition. There he is, the man that gets me in trouble all the time. A classic personality. Finally, this was another guy that was super anxious to recommend people to be on the chat, but was not was so shy himself to come that I had to wait for him. And I believe I had to wait until it was Halloween and we could wear disguises. And I believe I wore my disguise for the whole chat and he didn't. So it was kind of funny.
He's a great character.
He's a classic character, and I thank Danny for all the help in hooking me up with some cool people here in the chats. Matthew, of course, Matthew Setzer, our lovely guitar player for Skinny Puppy and for Kanga and all the rest of that. You'll be seeing more of him on the upcoming Skinny Puppy tour. And
Oh man, Ooze is missing from his thing.
his ears.
I met Matthew and Justin before any Skinny Puppy stuff.
What?
Entangled. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's bizarre.
Yeah, Matthew and I have an interesting little thing where our bands each played this LARP. I don't know if you guys you know what LARP is, right? Like the live action role play. So Scilab and then the band he was in, Ooze, played, and then something happened and we didn't end up playing, but we were like watching all these lightsaber battles and whatnot. And then I remember later in the future walking into the studio and running into him. I was like, "Oh, hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm here working with Puppy." This is before he was playing with Puppy. So yeah, we go way back.
Matt started off as our stage manager, and then turned out to be a guy that we learned to also play guitar. And he's also a super nice guy. So it's nice to work up. It's nice to work with people that are nice. And then
AKA
as well,
Patches. Call him Patches when you see him.
he's a handyman. The guy, if you have anything wrong, he'll rebuild it for you. It's always good to have The master of modular, Mr. Richard Devine. Um, who doesn't program modulars better than Richard? You know, in general, like the level of the level where he's at as far as like even his setup. I absolutely love the modular setup that he has of all of his equipment as far as how he's recording, monitoring, and so on. I wish I could throw away my whole mixing console and everything and just start over and go the same path. I believe it's similar to what Eric and I talk about with Omar all the time, where the path is more of a virtual path and is routed out sort of electronically through various on patch bay devices that are routed via computer through your analog devices. And I'm pretty sure it's called Earthquaker devices that he's using. I'm not too sure. No, that's not it. That's the effects company. Anyways, tune into the Rich chat for that if you want to learn about like modular stuff, but from the master.
So good.
He's also got a great punk rock name too.
What's that?
Richard Devine. Well, there's an obvious punk rock name that you could version of that name. I don't want to say it. Dick Devine.
Nah.
Total 80s punk rock.
It's either 80s punk rock or a porn star.
Dick Devine.
Hey, did you guys ever get a chance to see Divine? I mean, I saw Divine at the Love Affair once, and it was a fabulous show. You guys know who I'm talking about, right? Divine.
Divine.
Oh, yeah.
My buddy interviewed Divine back when he was 16, and who actually worked with Gary on the Chunk Blower video. There's always been this weird puppy connection.
Man.
Paul
I
Kaiju.
used to play 'em all the time.
You know, for some reason, when I talk about toys on the live chat, not nobody, but not as many people tune in. So if you guys don't want to talk about toys, then we'll talk about toys.
Let's move on.
But big up to Paul. He's been on a couple of times.
Next.
Need more Paul Kaiju. Oh, man, talk about Mr. Kaiju.
You know, I have to say, Naib Estefan was the guy that got us or me into everything. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have started collecting modulars. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have started collecting toys. And if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't know I wouldn't probably know half the people that we met that are from the Florida crew. Him and Otto together. If you know these guys in Miami and you visit and you know they're part of the Cuban contingent in Miami, there's nothing like it. Dre, that's like the only thing on this tour that I'm hoping we get to go out and do is meet up with Naive and Otto and go have some food.
He is the prince. Remember hanging out with him that day? It was unreal. Unreal how he's treated throughout that city.
Treated so well. Of course, he's the son of Gloria Estefan, and his dad is also the producer of the Miami Sound Machine and all sorts of classic bands. So you know, it's a classic family. Naib's son, I predict, is going to become the new Justin Bieber. That's my prediction. Check into that chat. Naib is actually running a drive-in theater in Miami called the Night Owl. And if you know about Miami, you might know about the Night Owl already. It's a specialized drive-in. You can get all sorts of goodies and all sorts of things you can do. Go check it out. Naib's running it nightly.
Wow.
Big ups, Naib.
Yeah, big up Naib. Richard Patrick dropped by from Filter. That was cool to catch up with. It was like, by this point I realized I think I've interviewed almost everybody that was in like the old school Nine Inch Nails except Trent.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of hilarious. Well, you need Robin.
Yeah, I kind of put the word out to Trent through those guys, and I said, well, if Trent wants to come on, more than welcome. But I think Trent is too busy with Apple Music or something. Who knows?
He'll never do it. He'll never do it.
Yeah, no, he won't do it. Exchange of ideas. That's what this is all about. Like the whole chat thing. You know, the world of it is that's what we're talking about here. And when me and Mark Spivey get together and we start talking about the 25-year Eyes of Stanley Payne, or I think the whole series of events that are coming, then we realize that Mark and I have a dynamic together that I think people write after and say, I just love it when you and Mark talk because you guys are so fun together. Right, Mark?
I agree. I am so fun. Couldn't resist that. No, we have a dynamic.
Mark,
Always have. Always
what was
will.
your favorite chat that you did when we did all these chats together?
Oh, it was the John Fox. Oh, I shouldn't say that really, in case Graham Lewis is listening.
Well, no,
Sorry,
you can
Graham.
say that
Those were
Yes,
equally as great.
because
I think it took us so long to get John Fox. Like Graham Lewis was like, yeah, of course I'll do it. It was, he was lovely. He was absolutely fantastic. But because Kevin and I were such big fans of John Fox, and it took us a long time to actually get it sorted. Not that there was a lot of work involved in it. It wasn't. It was actually pretty easy. But it just went through sort of a third party.
it was a publicist we had to
And he
go.
was,
Yeah.
yeah, his manager. Oh, he's such a lovely bloke, and he wrote back through his manager afterwards saying that was one of the best things I've done. I absolutely loved it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
I didn't know
Wow.
yeah, sorry, I forgot to tell you that.
that.
Yeah,
That's
but
great.
I mean, I think it was for somebody like me, and I think you, Kevin, to go back to somebody like Graham Lewis and Wire or John Fox from the John Fox Ultravox as opposed to the shit Ultravox with Midge Ure, was just incredible because it was really it was part of my childhood, a part of my sort of growing up, and
we said in the chat that we both saw pictures of John Fox at an age of around 15 or 16 years old. And it was like the
yeah,
first time that I ever saw an album cover where I felt like intimidated by what
yeah,
the band was and
yeah.
had to know. I was kind of got a little scared. And so for me, John Fox, I will pick as my favorite chat. And it basically was the reason why is because I didn't think that would ever happen. And when it did
Yeah.
happen, he's such a delightful guy and
Yes.
so great when you meet people that you've been inspired by and they turn out to be so delightful. I mean,
What
I really
about-
have to say, I could have talked to him forever.
What
Yeah.
about Stephen Malander?
I absolutely love that chat too, Scully, and thank you for saying that. I think that was like also way up there on the list. I mean, we're going through these here in Simon's folder, but I don't know where Stephen Malander will come up. But
He was definitely like I was awestruck during that one.
Yeah.
here it is here.
There you
Okay,
go.
yeah, Stephen Malander. So this is I just saw like one night I was sitting there and I'm friends with Stephen Malander on Twitter. And I just thought, well, hey, I'll just send him a message and see what he says. And he wrote right back. And I'm thinking, wow, gee, didn't think it would be that easy. And then so again, it was like the Lawrence Tolhurst thing. I thought like, okay, I'm getting really nervous for this one. And probably the most nervous out of any of the chats. I mean, John Fox, Stephen Malander, Lawrence Tolhurst is definitely the most nervous for. Malander, the guy's the king, it'd be like having Genesis Pure, John. It's like you're hearing it straight from the mouth of like, a household name within our world, right?
Yeah. I think I speak for everyone. I would like to see some sort of collaboration with Mr. Malander.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
And there's a link there with John Fox as well, isn't there? Because Benj works with Stephen Malander,
Yes.
and
That's
he
right.
works with John
Same
Fox.
studio.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's good.
my apologies to Benj. I apparently pronounced your name Benji in the chat with John Fox. So apologies to Benj. But Benj, yes, is also from Wrangler and basically works with Stephen Malander in his studio. I believe it's in Sheffield. And it's also a place where John Fox goes to do.
No, it's not. It's south. I think it's in Bath.
You're right.
It's in the west.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So big up to Stephen
It's
Mallon.
down-
Love,
it's-
love to hear from you again and see what you're been up to.
Got a new Creep Show album coming out soon.
He does have a new solo album out. What was it? What was that, Simon?
What's his new? There was Dada came out, and then Tick 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 came out recently, and they've got a new. His Creep Show project is slated for a new release. I think,
Excellent.
in a month or two.
Can't wait.
I can't wait.
Hey, this is. I've got to tell you, Simon. If you ever get Robin's story on, you could use this image for Robin.
All right.
It looks like
Robin would be
Robin.
great.
Mark,
He'd be great too.
Mark, we should have one with Robin and you.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Ben? You think he'd come along?
You're joking, aren't you?
You see, when people are not that type, it's just funny. It's like Aaron Funk. I would love to have him on. I would like to say, no, just talk to me the way you talk to me when we talk. Like, don't talk to try and think you're doing promotion. Just talk the way you talk, and then we'll talk about cats. We'll talk about,
Have you sent him?
Talk about all.
Have you sent him any of them? Any of the interviews? So you can check it out.
Maybe I should. No, I haven't. That's a good thing to do, Scully.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. So Rihanna's doing a photo session today here with Connie. Hi, Connie.
Connie Roberts.
It's the female. Dre, you know Connie.
Yes. Hi, Connie.
Hi, Connie.
Connie Roberts.
Connie Roberts.
Say her full name.
Connie Roberts? No, your name's not Connie Roberts.
Full
No.
name, Constance Randy.
Constance May.
Constance Grandy.
Constance.
Randy.
Oh, and Simon, that last picture, I love that because you were asking me what gear I was using at the time.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'd
Three,
like to do
three
that.
favorite pieces.
Yeah. Well, because it was a gear talk. It was a big gear talk.
I love this image that you made, Simon, because it reminds me of an image from a long time ago that it was one of the Japanese youth exchange programs, and there's a picture of me outside as a kid lighting fireworks outside, and it has the exact. It almost looks like it could be the same picture, but I love that how I'll never know what Simon will do if I say, okay, I'm going to do a Sunday 4th of July live stream with Subcon, and then you'll just get the image. It'll be like,
Yeah.
Joe Visvari, the originator, and what a great image of Joe.
So cool.
That's tattooable. Joe Virus, you should get this.
Yes.
He's the godfather. He's the godfather of us all, really. Joe Visvari, big up to you, the original inspiration. We retraced the inspiration with Joe in this chat back here on 5/16, whatever year, I don't know. Looks like we had IMX come back. We had a few variations on that poster, and we were talking again from there. They were still out in Pioneer Town. Chris has since moved from Pioneer Town, and he's developing an entire mountainside into his own community.
Wow.
We'll have to update you on that. Dre and I have a gig coming up in June with IMX at the Mayan Theater here in LA. So if you want to go and check out what IMX is doing and see me and Dre, come and check that out in June at the Mayan.
Also with I Speak Machine.
With I Speak Machine.
Hey.
Frankie.
Everyone here know Frankie Verschuren, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, many of you people out there might not know because he's not really a public figure, but Frank is the guy behind the scenes, fixes all of our computers, gets us all hooked up, technical genius. First met him as the sound man for the legendary Pink Dots when we went to Mexico. Just a delightful guy. Love Frank. Frank lives here in LA now. He came over to work on Ghost of Each Room in 2001 with me and never left. Oh, Otto and Notorious Nasty. I don't know, for some reason, what is it about the chat that people are not as hip on the Otto appearances? I noticed that. I thought an Otto and Nasty appearance in full character would entice everybody, but apparently not.
Weird.
Maybe it's I don't know, Miami.
Omar.
What about Omar Torres? Where is Omar? Has anybody messaged Omar?
Yeah, send him the link. No
Is he in the
answer
chat?
yet.
Just can someone forward Omar the Zoom link chat?
Omar, are you in the
Eric, can you copy
I-
that link and send it to Omar?
I did.
Okay. David
let's
Wright.
see.
Oh my God, this is somebody we all love, Mark, dearly.
Yeah.
David
Yeah,
Wright.
yeah,
I think we've had David on. I think David was amongst the first as well. It came even before we have a picture, and as well, then David returned with his Not Breathing chat. If you're not familiar with Not Breathing, a classic band that many times joins the bill when we do shows in Denver and other places, and a classic guy again. Mark, why is it that we get to know all these like just classic people we get to meet?
Well, in my case, it's because when he was about 20 or something, he signed to Invisible Records.
That's
and I went
right.
down, and I ended up doing an album with him and then toured with him a couple of times, and we just became best buddies.
Bronx Zoo.
Was he ever in Pigface?
Yeah, he was-
no.
No, I thought I saw him
Listen.
listed on one of those things. Might have been an invisible comp.
You're probably listed on that.
Probably.
Gloria is probably a member of Big Face too.
I had a lot of people really love the Myra chat. We went into
I love Myra.
yeah, Myra's a classic. I'll call her the mentor of Skinny Puppy because she really steered us right at the beginning, and she helped us to achieve pretty much what we're hoping to achieve by way of several different opportunities. And we also work with Myra at Expo 86, and we basically snuck in Einstürzende Neubauten and test department to the bill, and we thought we were going to be fired, but ended up getting hailed. So if you want to know that full story, check it out. Myra
Classic
Davis.
chat.
Yeah, I love
she's,
That
the,
was awesome.
she's the true definition of a visionary.
Yeah, Mr. Kitty, I still love you. I know you've gone into the cancel culture came after you, and I saw that you're hanging out with Kat Von D and Marilyn Manson. I don't know if that's a good thing.
Oh my God.
No comment.
Oh my God.
Dr. Michael Shepard, you
was
know,
a
when
good
it
one.
comes to psychology, Michael's a great guy to talk to. He's a mediator, a psychologist, and has been on IMX's channel as well. And we had a nice talk about mental health when it comes to making choices about how to make good decisions about mental health. Mark, I was surprised that you and Michael hadn't met earlier, but I realized that you've been gone from Canada for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You probably would know him, probably if you were still in Canada, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's a long time ago.
What about the
I left 22 years ago.
Martin Atkins? How much much more can you say about a guy like Martin Atkins? Like, man, when I first saw Martin Atkins, I was a kid again. I saw Public Image, Martin drumming, saw Public Image on American Bandstand. I never in my life thought one day I would be making an album with Martin, and we made Parts of the Process with Martin, and it's documented in the Process documentary on Patreon. But also we get into huge detail about that in two chats that Martin has come down and joined us, one on the Post-Punk Industrial Museum in Chicago, and then one just talking about Invisible. Mark, you were on Invisible.
Yeah, well, you introduced me to mine, and you know, yeah, you got me signed to Invisible basically, and I just had a sudden funny memory that when I first went down to Invisible, just a few months after I'd signed, I went down there to mix an album for about a week, and Martin's drum kit was in the studio because I used to be a drummer. And what do? Sitting down behind Martin Atkins' drum kit with Martin Atkins in front of you, you go dum 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 da.
Oh,
Duh.
absolutely.
Dum 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 da. Da. And so Martin goes, you don't know how many fucking people do that.
Well, it's the
You're not the
classic.
fucking first, and you won't be the fucking last, or something like that. You know. But yeah, dum 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 da da da. Dum lives in Glum
Of course,
in his room.
Mark is verbalizing the song
Yeah.
"The Flowers of Romance." a track that is predominantly drums and a predominantly excellent beat by Martin. Which, if you can do it, because it's not the easiest drum beat.
Keep banging the door.
That
Just
that
keep
used to be our
banging the
test.
door. Keep banging the door.
We used to play that in high school, and that was
You
the
gotta
test.
have a
to
good
see
kick
who the
drum
longest-
foot. You got to have a great kick drum
Yeah.
foot to do that song.
Uh,
Yeah,
and I love This Is What You Want, This Is What You Get. The beat on that is incredible.
Yeah, Martin, a predominant force of public image, and it's great. I love how Martin keeps the spirit going and keeps everything happening, and big up to Martin.
Oh yeah, the museum is fantastic. I was in the museum back in November. It's truly amazing to see all that stuff.
Scully,
really
didn't you contribute something to the museum?
Yeah, I gave up my my eyeball, my Skinny Puppy cleanse, fold, manipulate eyeball promotional.
Wow.
So that's something you can see if you go visit the post-punk museum. And it'll, what is there, a Skinny Puppy section? I see Martin has a whole bunch of stuff from Jolly.
When you walk in the front door, there's like a big case about the size of a phone booth. It's got, like, I think one of Ogre's outfits. It's
Wow.
got the light. It's got the lighting plot from Too Dark Park. It's got a couple of old posters, bits and pieces of Tim Gore stuff. It's incredible, man. It's when you walk in the front door, you see Skinny Puppy first
Wow.
thing.
Ooh, don't we have a day off in Chicago?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It says we're driving through. I don't know if that means we have a day off.
That'd be
We
nice.
should. I don't know if you noticed, but it was Jolly's birthday the other day.
Yes,
75.
75th birthday. Big up. Happy birthday to
Yeah,
Jolly
what a man.
Roger.
What a guy.
75. Can barely believe it.
Legend.
Mayor of Chicago.
We had Josh and Ben drop by from Maleko, where BRAP is being built, and of course, like the brains behind the whole Dark Place manufacturing and everything going on there. Of course, Paul Barker is partners with Josh in this, so it's like kind of like an extension of music in that way. But absolutely love these guys. You'll see Josh on tour with Lead into Gold. He's going to be touring with us, and looking forward to that. I guess Ben will be running the show. Ben is the designer of the Varigate 8 and the Manther and all sorts of
Yeah,
great
Manther.
things. Like a Rodent. Well, many people don't know who Rodent is, but Rodent went on to work with Make Noise Music and helpful with the production of the Morphogene and the all the modules that have been being produced over at Make Noise by our lovely pal Tony. Big up Make Noise and all you guys over there. What I tried to do is start to like zoom out to some of the Euro companies and try and get in and have some chats with those makers. Reese Fulber came on and was talking at first about Frontline and Conjure One and so on like this, when we thought we had to give up on Bill. There's no way that Bill's gonna come, so we'll have some chats with Reese. It was nice that Bill finally came. Hey, that one goes way back. I think that was one of the first ones there. I don't think these are sequential, but yeah, we went through the record room and I tried to play it and then play at the same time a simulcast, and we had that idea, but it didn't really work so well. But yeah, that's there. Randall Frazier, the new member of the legendary Pink Dots and also Orbit Service, a great friend of all of us. Mark,
Oh, yeah.
you gotta love Randall, right?
Oh yeah, what a guy. Yeah.
You were
So
just with
he
them.
also has an impeccable taste in hats
He
as
does.
well.
Yeah,
as you
but
can tell.
Impeccable
Yeah.
taste in equipment as well. Always
Yeah.
listen to what Randall says about gear, because he's the one that turned me on to the CXM 1978. I have to say, he's right. Greatest reverb ever.
Randall and I have this weird sync. Like when it's time to go puff jaw, we are magically drawn to one another at the same time. Like I'll be coming around the corner and be like, oh hey, I was just gonna go have some puff. Like every time he's here in LA, we do that.
I love your fisherman shirt, by the way. Did
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
had to represent.
did you know, Simon, that when I get my fisherman shirt out and on, it's like I'll pet it and I'll do all those things that I
That's
want to
awesome.
wear it like more than one day in a row. And then the other day we went out for a taco and some taco sauce spilt on it, and Rihanna was like, "Oh no, there's sauce all over Fish's face." Had to clean it off and everything. It's
I
one of
kind
those.
of picture you having a whole section of like about 30 of them, though.
I luckily I grabbed two, so I have a backup. But
Right.
out of all the shirts that we've made together, Simon, I think that's my favorite shirt you did.
That's awesome. I'm glad.
Yeah,
Big ups.
Randall. I can't wait to hear about your recent tour to Europe with the Pink Dots. We'll get filled in there. Peter Grenader. I absolutely love this chat. He took us on a tour of the Tool synth collection, basically going through Danny Carey's almost entire collection down there. Actually, there was a lot of stuff he couldn't show you because it's on another floor. But Peter's a great guy. Peter's from Plan B, and basically has now worked with Danny for the last 7 or 8 years. He's the programmer from the Chocolate Trip Quick series that Danny does, and he's an amazing programmer. Have you guys ever listened to any of his music? The ZX Society is awesome.
Yeah, I did that cover. He just blew this up like about, I think it's, I don't know how many feet by how many feet, blew it up on.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has his blown up on the wall. It looks great too. Well, it's a great poster, great image of Peter. It is Peter, and the background with all the technical stuff. And I know that he thanked me after so nicely. Peter's such a genuine, awesome guy, and I was so happy that Danny Carey allowed Peter to basically do that, and that was a gas.
Big ups the work he was doing with the puppies. You seen his puppy posts? Where
He's always caring for his animals. He's an immense animal lover, and he's always looking for help in case somebody has some puppies or something like that, or he'll take them in and take them on. Man, Paul Lemos from Controlled Bleeding. That was a great catch up. I hadn't seen Paul since probably 1989 or something. It was a very long time. Wow. Absolutely love Controlled Bleeding. Being able to catch up, the whole story about where it's come and gone and where it's headed. You guys know Paul, Mark?
I did meet him at we played at a festival together in I think it was in Providence, Rhode Island, about 10 years ago. I did meet him. Yeah.
Sweetheart.
Nice guy.
I had a lot of comments about that one. Apparently, there's a lot of Controlled Bleeding fans out there. I'm right with you. Head Crack is one of my favorite records that they ever did. Joe Papa passed away. I absolutely love the sound of Joe Papa's voice. Just an absolute classic duo, those two. And sadly missed Joe Papa. Scott Kirkland from Crystal Method came about as a result of the lovely Danny Lohner again. And was great catching up with Scott. Haven't had a chance to really sit down with him over the time, but it was great to really get to know him in the chat. That's the one good thing about the chats is like you get to know somebody better, like even just the chat, which is weird.
I ran into him at my work, and he was still gushing about the chat and how much fun he had.
Scott?
Yeah, Scott.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw
nice guy.
I saw Scott and Danny and a couple of other people perform on this show on TV recently that was like one of these like world music championships. And basically, it was an attempt at it was completely commercial, but you could see that they'd spent a lot of time and work on it. I wish I could give you the details on that, but I think if you look it up, Crystal Method Scott online about some recent stuff, it'll show this performance, but it was pretty large. Scott Yeager from Industrial Music Electronics and the Harvestmen came on, sort of like continuing on in the Maker series. Scott was the first person to give me a module, so got a big up Scott, and also hoping that the DRG module that he has been working on will come along. That's the gated radio concept that he said that he has an idea for a couple of years ago, and I'm hoping that a proto will come through.
Why is it called the DRG module?
Dual radio gate.
Oh.
It's nice that it's called DRG, though, isn't it, Scully?
Yeah, that's somebody's initials, I know.
Yeah, somebody's initials we know. But random dual radio gate. Yep, a dual set of gated radios. So you can CV control gates on two radios that are in a module, and then basically, yeah, that was what we were working on. And we thought we would be together sooner than we thought, but once again, with the part shortage and the way everything's going, man, it's just difficult for. I've seen companies just closing down left, right, and center because they can't produce things.
Yeah, their wavetable thing that was supposed to be like the Manther
Yep.
never came out
Yeah.
yet.
No, I've seen companies that did pre-orders on things having to say, okay, we can't do it because we couldn't get the micros. Well, basically, you'll be happy to know that BRAP, we have all the parts, we have all the micros, and no worries on that for your BRAP. But like, I know exactly what they mean. They mean the micros we're talking about, because the micros that went out of stock are out of stock not only for a while, but for apparently years. Apparently they just can't even do it. So I don't know. I was going to have Josh explain that, but crazy scenario. So this was my best buddy. I've known him since kindergarten. He's my oldest friend, Scott Gerling, since we were 5 years old, 5, 6 years old. And I talked about Japan when my dad sent me on that youth exchange program. And I talked about it so much, he said, okay, well, let's go back. So I hooked it all up, not through the Lions Club. I did it all just through the people we had stayed with, and said, come on, let's go. And we went right back into the same families and more. We traveled all through Japan, and we tell the whole story in this chat. I really enjoyed this chat too, because I was reminiscing about something that I thought was just incredibly inspiring. And Scott's such a great guy. Did any of you guys have a thing like that where you got sent away as a youth and culture just blasted you into another dimension?
Yeah, I did. When I was 19, I got shipped off to Canada, and I had to go travel around with a bunch of Canadians.
I moved to Canada when I was 3, so there you go.
Where did you,
In Canada.
Scully? I remember I met you. I was on Yonge Street.
Dude, that was almost 35 years ago to the day.
That's crazy. Yeah, I remember the first time I met Scully. He was in a truck, and he pulled up, and it was like, oh, this young kid's going to be working for you. I was like, oh, great. Yeah, no, that's a long time ago, man. That's like what, 1987 or
88.
88.
Yeah, you made me show you my ID because you didn't believe my name was real.
Right. I had to see that your real name is actually Skull.
Yeah.
How many people would you meet that would actually, be in that scenario?
Me? Anyone in my family,
Yeah. Legendarios, the return of the Legendarios, Ryan Moore, also a member of Download when we did the As a Stanley Payne tour on the drums, and with Twilight Circus sound system. Mark, fond memories of Ryan, I'll bet.
Oh yeah, he's a lovely guy, isn't he? He's great. And I mean, he's lived in Holland for a long time now, hasn't
He restores churches.
Yeah.
He's a civil restoring churches and all sorts of like antiques buildings. And he became passionate about it. As a matter of fact, he's so passionate about it, he doesn't barely make music anymore. He does play some shows DJing Twilight Circus, but even that he has curtailed. Ryan, we got to get him back playing, and I've said, Ryan, we're due for another DubCon.
Yeah.
So, got to get Ryan back in the fold somehow, Mark.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He is the CS80 master.
Yeah.
Oh, the CS80 gets used more often when he's here than any other time. So yeah, he is the CS80 master. We've done lots of studio visits, and then finally, Stephen Gilmore decides he's going to come, and I hope you guys love that chat. It was
That's my favorite chat.
That was great.
I've had a lot of people say as we've gone along that, oh, that was my favorite chat, or that was my favorite chat. A lot of people said that about this one, and we're waiting to have this chat. Tiger Lily saying that's her favorite.
This was the one that I was most nervous about because I actually talked to Steven on the phone about this.
Oh my God, I can only imagine.
Man, I can
Because I'm
imagine.
like, because he's like one of my heroes, right? And it's like, it's one of these things where he's like, hey, can I give you a quick call? And I'm like, oh, here we go.
Uh-oh.
I got art directed by Stephen Gilmore, so it was awesome.
I think you did great poster. It is Stephen. I'm sure he loves it.
Yeah.
It's flattering.
It was
that
so
was so great.
good, yeah.
Great.
For me, that episode had the most surprised facts that I did not know. There was a
Really?
lot of like, holy crap, he did that too. He's amazing.
Stephen has been everywhere, and tune into that episode. I believe that one tops up near the top of the length of one. I think the record is actually held by T-Dog Cole, though.
Oh yeah.
The grandson of Lord Buckley, and also the world's greatest guitar tech. The spiritual pep talk after Fisherman passed away. I got into detail about witnessing that spirit rise. If you don't believe me, check out that chat. Oh my God, I was really this practically nobody cared about this chat as far as the views are concerned. But I was also extremely nervous for this one because Bourbonese Quack is one of my favorite bands ever. So it was one of those ones. Mark, I wish I had you along for that one. It was a
Oh yeah.
it was a great
Yeah.
time. He was very there's a lot of guys from this scene that are not nostalgic in any way, and they really don't really think of their albums that I love as being likable. And Simon was definitely challenging as far as that was concerned. But
I watched that chat. I actually watched it. Yeah.
he's a wonderful guy.
So,
I walked away with a few emails from him suggesting that we should do something. So, but what would we do? So there's the question again. I love that when afterwards people are like, let's do something. Like Justin Broderick, Godflesh, basically has been anxious to exchange some material, which we definitely should do.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, yes.
And there's a new Godflesh that's coming out pretty soon too.
Excellent. Got back into the idea of talking about albums, since like there's so much to say. So many people speculate about, well, what about this song? Or what about this song? Or how was this song made? And so, like to go into detail about like every song is like where it came from, where it was made, blah, blah, blah. And it's been a gas. Some of them have been incredibly, also for me, like I'll remember something as I'm talking. I'll be like, wow, that's a crazy mind warp. Tom Ellard from Severed Heads. A couple of times. Absolutely love Tom.
Classic.
Always a nice chat. The only difficult thing about Tom is the time difference and going all the way down to Australia. And it ends up around 5 p.m. But Tom's such a great guy.
Legend.
Yeah.
Humble genius.
Yeah.
Wacky genius.
There's the record holder for the longest chat. Trevor T-Dog Cole. Check it out if you want to hear about all sorts of things about Jamaica, about guitar teching, about the early career of Lord Buckley and how instrumental he was in influencing like the entire comedy direction, where Hollywood and where everyone picked up a lot of material from Lord Buckley. A lot of people don't know about Lord Buckley. I didn't know about Lord Buckley before I met T-Dog. And a great chat, wonderful guy. Oh, that's that again.
Yeah.
Lots of happy birthday zombie drays and studio visits and jams that we did. We had John Bechdel from Ministry join us, great guy. We were talking about meeting up and doing that big festival over in France, and then we pulled out shortly after that.
Funny thing is, John and I are actually in a project together with DJ Hell and Christoph and a couple other guys. So it's like, it's weird, like the connections. I remember meeting him in Canada, but
you go way back with John, don't you?
no, actually I just met him at that fest.
Oh, at the Amnesia Festival where we played with Ministry.
Yep.
Apparently we're playing with Ministry again in Las Vegas on May 13th.
Oh, sweet.
So apparently we'll be seeing John and company again. Big up, John. We'll see you there. Oh, Basic. Did any of you guys catch Basic's Boiler Room set, by the way, that was just posted?
no.
Oh, yeah.
Man, it is absolutely it's off the hook. And what I love about what Basic's doing right now is he's bringing back the early 90s rave era, which was my favorite, the whole sort of ASEN sort of early Prodigy, just some fantastic stuff. Check it out though. I think I'll post that on the Patreon coming up. But everyone loves Basic. Um, and then these are not sequential. I've tried to do them sequentially. So I think this was the first one, and then we went from here to Remission to Bites to Cleanse to everything, and they all have been in order. This was talking about the original impetus back and forth. Ah, poor Alan. Alan from Bao, one of my favorite bands in Japan, Bao. And also, I love the fact that Alan I was living vicariously through Alan, a guy that had successfully moved to Japan and had integrated himself within the society there, learned the language, did everything that I kind of wanted to do. That was part of that whole thing. Unfortunately, Alan does hold the record for the least viewed chat. So basically, all of you should go and watch it and pump up the views on it for Alan. Alan's very soft-spoken, and he's also the slowest driver that you will ever encounter. Other than that, Alan's one of the greatest guys in the world.
Oh man, I love running into Alan at a random residence show.
Absolutely.
Oh shit, is that Alan? It's like, yeah, it is.
Yeah. Alan's now back in Las Vegas and is hoping to get back to Japan. He hasn't been able to go back for 3 years too, so we'll go. We had the return of Curse Mackey. That was the one with the live performance, and we're talking about when's Pigface going to go out again. Why is it that those guys haven't made any more plans? Guess we're going to have to tune in with Martin and find out. Mark, have you heard?
I don't. Martin had some pretty serious spinal surgery, didn't he?
Right,
just
right.
before Christmas.
Looks
So,
like he's
I haven't.
on his way on the mend.
I'm sure he'll be fine, but I haven't heard anything. So I saw Curse in November. He guested on a couple of songs with me when I played in Austin, which was a lot of fun.
Oh, this one was another classic.
Another classic. It was like, I think by this time, Edward had somewhat sorted out a microphone situation. But did you have a challenge, Mark, hearing Edward in the chat?
No,
Okay,
I don't. Well, I can't recall. Yeah.
Yeah, there was one chat, as I was saying earlier, I think it's one of the first ones where I could barely hear what he was saying. I was just like, okay, yeah.
Oh, it's great.
It's
Great.
great. The many visits of Edward, going back and exploring the historical aspects of the legendary Pink Dots. Edward isn't very nostalgic either. You try to show him old pictures of the Pink Dots, he's like, Kevin, get rid of it. Good old Don Dutch Harrison from the Sons of Freedom in Vancouver also was one of Chubby's friends and was brought into Hilt, and just a classic guy, classic guitar player, and was great having him on. Hadn't spoken with him for years again.
Classic.
The Drumosaurus chat, guys could all see like the drum kits and the history of drums. Daniel Meyer, I guess you might call him, what is he, one of our European compatriots, the Subcon crew?
Yeah, totally.
Pretty much. He's pretty close.
It was awesome.
Giotto Ishii from Tokyo, fabulous guy, as you know. He's a collaborator of mine when I go into Japan, basically joining me each time. Fabulous guy. I've toured 14, 15 shows of Japan with him. Had so much fun. You never have so much fun than touring Japan and not caring about like how many people show up, not caring about, those things. Just go up and just have fun. And that's what we did. Because, sometimes we would play to 100 people and sometimes we'd play to 15 or 20 people. So it was pretty awesome.
Giotto gave me a CD of his that he didn't mean to give to me when I was living at the house that I've had for like decades. So I have some unreleased Giotto stuff. I think he was just going by OTO at the time.
That's right. As a
like
fact,
Otto.
There was another
Otto.
I was like, it can't be another
Otto.
Otto.
With enough T's.
We got enough Otto.
Yeah, that's right.
But no,
There's only one Otto.
His recent works are fabulous. Like, look on Bandcamp under Giotto. It's absolutely amazing to witness him. I exposed him to Renoise after his favorite band was Venetian Snares. So I said, that Aaron does all the music using Renoise. He said, I didn't know that. So I showed him Renoise, basically showed him the whole thing about how it works. This was in 2009. So since then, he's become an absolute master. I mean, he's open sourced that thing. He's basically got inside it, and you can hear the results of his recent works. But fabulous guy as well. Douglas was on after as well, like surviving, going through the hospital. Almost lost Douglas a couple of times, it seems. Recovering recently, and was great to catch up with Douglas.
That's awesome guy.
Awesome guy.
Pickups Douglas.
Oh, this is going way back. Or maybe this is a new one. Dale Martindale from Images in Vogue.
Dale.
That's one of my favorite images, I think you did.
Yeah.
That's a fabulous image of
I
Dale.
like that one too a lot. Yeah.
Classic Dale.
I think I'd blow that up and have
Tattoo.
that on my wall.
Do the tattoo with Joe.
Or there's another tattoo. Joe.
Joe.
So,
Joe, I got a back piece for you.
Maybe some Image in Vogue fanatic will get it.
It's funny. I'm with Joe wherever he goes. He's got a whole sleeve.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
it's great.
got your work all over him, Simon. Joe Virus, yeah. Here was a great chat. You guys all met up in Denver, and we all did a quick chat before your show there. Mark, it was like first of a couple of shows you did, and for those guys, it was the last of their U.S. tour. It was great to zoom in and see you guys together there. And finally get some words from Eric Drost.
Yes.
Oh man, his pedal that he created, that he was using on the tour, the tone that he would get out of his guitar with that was just amazing. It's
He
like
is
he
an
knew it
amazing
as soon as
guitar
he
player.
started. Yeah, so good.
Yeah, and once again, the lovely Randall joining the Pink Dots this year, replacing Phil the Silverman, who retired, and hopefully Phil's still doing okay over there in Holland. He seems to have stepped away from the limelight for right this time. He's also a guy I asked to do a chat and was very shy. So
I need to send Phil a message, let him know he's still loved.
I absolutely love this chat with Justin K. Broderick. What a sweetheart he is. I know he doesn't do a lot of interviews either, but we went way back with the Last Rites tour, and we really bonded on that tour, being like just like both smoking some, as you say, you met up in the back alley at the same time, and there we were. And had a great time with Justin, and it was so great to reconnect with him and show him some of that. At the very beginning of the chat, I show him some footage from where I look like fucking David Lee Roth or something. I mean, it's just like horrible.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny, but yeah, no, I absolutely. One of my favorite songs is by Yesu, and was it "Your Friends Are Horrible" or
Their friends are evil.
"Your Friends Are Evil"? I cannot. If I hear that song, it will run through my head for the longest time. And this one great thing about doing the chats is that you do this study beforehand of their material, and then I hadn't heard that song before, and so I heard it, and I was just spellbound by that track. So big up to Justin. And Godflesh aren't on that festival in Vegas. No, I don't think they are. So hopefully we'll cross paths again, and hopefully we'll get some material exchanged.
He's at Cold Waves this year.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like he's doing that in JK Flesh.
Yeah, with
Oh, wow.
JK Flesh too. I wonder what he's going to do with that.
Ooh.
Okay, so finally we get Bill, and this was no small feat. I think we had to have somebody go over to Bill's house and help him set up with Zoom, and then get him set up. And then he was very nervous, and it worked out well. I thought it was great to be able to finally achieve, like, my goal of the chats was to have Bill on and to finally see that happening, and enjoyed the chat a lot. So thanks to the guys for coming along. And since had Bill and Reese again doing the Cyberactive chat, and that was amazing as well. What about you, Dre? You set this one up.
Oh yeah, we kind of jumped out of our musical realm for a quick minute.
Dre set this one up with Kimmy Robertson from Twin Peaks. Dre, you have a crush on her, don't you?
Yeah, if you were to tell me that I was gonna in the future go see The Residents with my Twin Peaks crush, I would have said, "Oh no, you're insane. You're insane." But no, that happened.
And
And then the
that
chat
was
happened.
that was really
crazy.
amazing that you
I
said
watched all of that chat. She was fantastic, wasn't she? Absolutely
great.
She's
wonderful.
great.
Yeah.
She's got great stories,
Yeah.
like her intertwining.
As you would do.
It's just so good.
such a great person and such a lovely individual to meet, and thanks to you, I wouldn't have had a chance to do that. And so, as I say, so there's a lot of things that happen as a result of these chats where you meeting people, and I just love it. And you walk away from some of them, at least for me, I walk away and I'm thinking, well, that was cool. Meeting Kimmy was inspiring, and like probably
Hey, does anybody know the actor called Harry Goaz who played Deputy Andy in Twin Peaks?
Yep. They
You
were
do?
just in Seattle. They were just in Seattle a few days ago. I
Because
messaged her.
he's hilarious, absolutely hilarious. He does these kind of Facebook posts where he'll put this kind of like bizarre image of a car in a parking lot, and then have this kind of like descriptor over the top of it that's got absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with the image. It's like a story, but the story is like completely detached from the image. I love it. It's
Nice.
it's so kind of like Lynchian, But yeah, it's Deputy Andy.
Yeah. They were just together a few days ago. I messaged Kimmy.
Oh right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I swear that's the closest to David Lynch I think I'll probably get.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we've talked about maybe send a message out to David Lynch, but then again, why should he?
Did you just break your own?
What about Jennifer?
No, I know we're going long on this chat today, everybody, and who cares if you guys got a split?
We got 100 more to go.
We aren't trying.
100 more.
We aren't. No, we're not going to go through them all. We can't go through them all.
I
But-
thought we were making
Simon,
money.
It goes to show
What?
you how
You know
much
that-
has been done. Like, it just blows my mind that there's been this many chats.
Yeah.
Oh, this was one of my favorite ones as well.
Oh yeah.
Nobody watched it as much as what I thought. I thought, like, talk to a guy, an American that went over and started a coffee shop in Amsterdam, and it becomes the most popular coffee shop. And I thought, like, wow, that's, again, I guess my dream. Scully, I know your dream.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Mark, I highly doubt it.
That place was phenomenal. That was awesome.
But John is like a stand-up guy, and like it's always great that out of all the friends that I know, I think I've interviewed, like, as I say, most of you have not got away from me. If you have, you've already said to me no, but most of my friends, had got the guys from Portion Control on, both John and Dean. John was incredibly humble. We had a few glitches in his thing, and I will say Dean was also not nostalgic. And so when I was trying to talk a lot about the beginning and I staggered mentally and stuff, he was a little bit like, okay, hum. And I think I hit the 1 hour mark with Dean, and I said, okay, Dean, thanks very much for the chat today. We'll see you soon. And, there was nothing wrong. It was just like really couldn't think of anything else to ask him. But there's the one that I love most of all. Thanks to Mark. And
Spanish car.
what
That-
I
that
thought
was
was amazing,
legendary.
again, isn't there's this weird thing that his first band is called Tiger Lily? It's like,
Yeah.
like this weird circumstances where it'll be like, wait,
Yeah.
how is that possible?
Hey, am I the only person that, like, whenever Underpass would come on in a club and you're
Underpants.
No.
okay, thank you.
No,
Well,
you're
You're not
not.
the only one.
Underpants.
I tried to get Kevin to ask him about that, but he was like, nope.
Guys, I am also one of the people that sings Underpants. But the last
Yeah.
thing I wanted to have in the video was asking John that question, even though I was asked it
Yeah.
several times. Please ask him if he's aware of Underpants.
you chicken.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is.
Sure he is, but you know what? I had to.
Yeah.
I
You
had
gotta
to not
ask the
go
tough
there.
questions.
Save that for the third interview when you're more buddy buddy.
Underpants.
Scott Fox from Ivarden Sphere. Another IMX visit. Chris is becoming like a regular. Oh, Mark, this was a fun one with Graham Lewis and Wire.
Oh, so good.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Set up by Mark and always exciting. Again, another study, another 5-day study. And the thing that I found is that listening to 154 and Cher's Missing, it took me 2 weeks for those songs from 154 to leave my head.
oh
Yeah,
man.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
They were just
Yeah.
day in, day out. I was just like humming and humming and humming. And just what a great guy he turned out to be as well. Great chat. Loved
We've
it.
been, I've been doing some music with Graham as well since that chat.
Wow.
We've done two tracks together, and
Oh,
he's really lovely. Yeah, he's really lovely guy. I mean, I was at a local football match about a month or so ago. Half time, he just calls me up, and he's in Sweden. It's like, where are you, Mark? What are you doing? And I was at the football match, It's like, and I turned around to my friend, and I just said to him, I'm talking to Graham Lewis from Wire on the phone. And it was so bizarre, as I said, Graham Lewis is calling me on my phone. I'm like, going,
Wow.
I just can't get this. I can't get it because the reason I can't get it is because I've probably listened to Wire and Can more than any other band in my life. Do you know what I mean? It's just so bizarre that you finally get to know these people, and they're actually really nice.
and you get the time during these chats to actually talk and feel you do actually get to know them.
Yeah.
That's the great thing. So Graham's been keeping in touch. And did you make music with him before the chat, or is this since then?
No, since the chat.
That is amazing.
Since the chat. Yeah.
And so Mark
Yeah.
has got another project on the way.
It's called Wire. I'm joking.
What a great chat.
Mark, I'll tell Vince all about that.
Go back and check that out if you fancy some Wire stuff.
Yeah, I would like to add that Mark did a great job of co-hosting that chat, man. That made that really enjoyable.
Oh yeah.
That's why I love to co-host with Mark, is because we both have different takes on the same thing, but we're both equally as inspired. So it's just wonderful.
Yeah, it was really good.
Thanks.
All the
Hey, thanks, Scully. That's really kind. I tell you what, though, I don't know if everybody else is going to, I'm sure everybody else would agree with this. There's Gloria going nuts in the background. Is that Kevin has done an amazing job over the years that he's been doing this now, the years. I mean, the amount of research that you do, it's really professional, and it comes across. And I think that, that impresses people. So, yeah, you're doing a great job.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, you're a sweetheart. And you know what's really weird is that I didn't really think about this, but yeah, it has now been since the start of COVID that we did this. And don't you guys find it weird that that's 3 years?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
just so bizarre.
Yeah.
It just continuously blows my mind. But at least there's been something to do. For me, it was like it kept me entertained and kept me going. And now that we've got the big job coming up, I'm going to try and juggle all this and see what I can do. But it's been fun. I mean, a guy like here, Gary Livermore, just being able to talk about the history of something like Rising from the Red Sands and Third Mind, about how that fit into like your original inspiration, by why you started your band. That's what I find to be really great about these chats. It's like we're getting like the first-hand connection with the person that inspired you to go do something, or in my case, me, and I hope others as well.
Oh yeah, that compilation got me into so many of those weird bands. Nurse Moon, Pink Dots. So
That
good.
was one of the saddest. That's the only time we didn't make a chat was when Fisherman passing away. Sad day in itself. The October catch up. By the way, is everybody like rocking their Fisherman shirt today on Fisherman Day? If you are, please check in and let us know. Jason Novak, the guy that's becoming responsible for getting like almost every band we've ever wanted to see on the road.
Yes.
Thanks to Jason for that, man.
Dude, that last there was no way I could miss that last Severed Head show in Chicago. Was just
Yeah.
so good. And Test Department was like,
Here's a chat that never happened. Whatever happened to DJ Mike World? And it's so funny. It's like Mike has completely disappeared, and so is his chat. It never happened. So Mike has been in China this whole time. We had this idea to do a chat, and then all of a sudden Mike got seriously locked down. I'm talking like China lockdown. And then there was like he couldn't even get like communication out from his place. So he was also the first guy that ever sent me any information on COVID. He leaked some information, sent some video links to me from China that were showing like the first images of COVID. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? He was like, dude, this is scaring the shit out of me. So I'm hoping to eventually get Mike on here. If you know who Mike is, he's very old school Florida DJ, very instrumental in promoting everybody way back when. The further things, the Mark and Joshin Arbeit from Einstürzende Neubauten, another one Mark set up. I thought it was our most contemporary interview.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a really nice guy.
Very nice guy, very adult. Was wonderful. And also what I really like how it represents is like, Neubauten at the beginning was ferocious, like a fire, like punk rock, untamable. And yet now they're so refined and completely elegant and completely, a completely different take on the same concept. But I like them both. I found that through meeting him that I went and explored some more of the newer stuff that I hadn't before, and I was really enjoyed it. So nevertheless, another great inspiration. The two buddies from Italy. If you guys don't know who Rustblade Records is, and Stefano Rossello and Filippino Corradin, these guys are the guys that work with Justin Bennett on many projects, Bontier, Motion Capture, Ket Vector, Autogeddon, and they also run Rustblade Records. So, Mark, you ever had a release on Rustblade?
No, but I have met Stefano. I met him in Germany.
So Rihanna and I have a plan after this whole tour to go meet him and go to Pompeii.
Oh, wow.
Anybody else been to Pompeii?
No.
Yeah.
Have you, Mark?
It's
Have you been to
unbelievable.
Pompeii?
Yeah.
Oh man, you see, this is a
Incredible.
goal.
Absolutely incredible.
I'm gonna do that with these guys. These guys are great for like giving info on the Italian scene. Goblin, the close friends with Claudio Simonetti and the Goblin crew. So basically, rein in the whole sort of like Italian horror, Italian music and stuff like that. Really, an untapped resource in a lot of media. King Russell came down and talked about his Cylon design within Logic. That was really cool.
Oh, I love that one. That was a good one.
Yeah.
It was a technical one, yeah. If you know technical stuff, you'll know that Russell got in. This was a really fun chat. Talking with Darren Huss from Psych. Now, basically, he was under the assumption that we had some long-standing beef or something like that we didn't like him or they didn't like so on like that. But when I talked to him, I found out that was all just created out of thin air.
Well, that was a great chat. That was so informative, especially to hear about free puppy Dwayne and all that. That was
Absolutely. For me, even too. I mean, there was facts I think that he said in there that even, I hadn't even known. And so it was also great to just speak with a guy. I think he has like I almost want to call him like the Mark Allman of Canada. I mean, he's got like this really strong persona and really strong, obviously, musical desire. So what a great guy, though, in the end.
Big ups, Darren.
Yeah.
Connell, man, here's another loss of last year. I was able to interview Connell. It's a guy that if we were ever in public, he introduced me as his son. He introduced Rihanna as his daughter-in-law. When we would go out, if we ever got taken out for dinner, the many times he'd tell all the waiting staff and the people in the restaurant, "This is my son, my daughter." It was. I began to believe that this was really my dad. He died last August, I believe it was August, at the age of 81. And what a phenomenal guy. In the last 2 years of his life, he got tattoos all over his face and his head. It was just unbelievable. The spirit this guy had was whatever, whatever you could dream of, he was that guy. So big up to Connell. Big love to you, Pops. Patrick Wright. I love this. This is another guy we're going to meet up with in Italy. He lives in Umbria, which is just north of Rome. And he's moved there and, basically turned Italian. I guess he's been there 20 years or something, but he keeps on saying, if I see the countryside of Umbria, then basically I may want to move there. So, you ever been to Umbria, Mark?
Yeah, been through it. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yep.
Umbria?
Yep, me.
Who? Who was that?
I have passed through it.
Did you? I've never been to Umbria, so we're Umbria bound, and meeting up with Patrick and see what happens. The best of the blah. You know that radio that you drew there, Simon? That looks exactly like the radio that saved my life when I was on a youth exchange program. The first one. The only thing that saved my life was music. And they took me out to Akihabara, and I went and I saw this place full of technology. And I picked up a what we called a ghetto blaster, brought it back to where the family, and I tuned into what was known as the Far East Network. And it was basically one of the first songs that I heard was cutting edge at the time, the Alan Parsons Project.
Yes. Yes. I
Saved my life, man. Saved my life.
Eye in the sky.
Yeah, no, it was great. So we zoomed down to Mexico with Cyrus Rex and his whole black box immersion experience. Big up to Cyrus and your continued support of everything here. Charles Levi, so great to see you recovering and recovering.
Yeah.
And, man, you're an inspiration to all of us that think, the light might go out, but it's not out. It's just getting lit up again. And big up to you, Charles.
Big up to Charles.
Big up,
That was
Charles.
great.
It was a great time. And yeah, the continuing series. I shall be continuing this series. I believe I've got a few to do. Too Dark Park and Last Rites. And we've been covering all the rest of the bases. We're doing some pre-tour chatter. Scully, is it true that you're going to join us on a couple of dates on the tour?
Absolutely. I'm gonna be in New York for the New York shows.
Nice.
Probably, definitely for the San Francisco, obviously. If there's anything that happens in Chicago, I will definitely be in Chicago.
There is going to be something in Chicago, and there is going to be something in LA and San Francisco. We just haven't booked it yet, and we don't know what it will be. But when it will be, it will be.
No, of course, this is something that's been part of my life for many, many years, and very proud of it. And it's going to be a lot of emotions for me to watch this, but I wouldn't miss it for the world. It's family.
I can't wait for you to be there with us, Scully, because that will be special as well. Won't it, Dre?
Hell yeah, the OG.
Yeah. Now, Eric, where are you coming to any shows, Eric? What shows you coming to?
Denver and the Lawrence, Kansas show.
Ooh, Lawrence.
We'll meet you there and give you the tour and show you the setups and stuff like that. Simon, you're coming to this place called History, I take it, in Toronto, right?
Yep.
What is this venue called History? What is it?
Yeah.
I think it used to be, I don't know what it used to be. It used to be like a casino or something. And then I think it got bought out, and I think Drake is a part owner of it. So apparently the sound system's really good.
Where is it? Where is it?
It's like east, just as you're heading out of the city almost. Like it's Lakeshore, like before, maybe after the DVP and stuff. But it's pretty far.
Yeah, I've never heard of a venue out there before.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like,
So is it out near the beaches?
yes, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
Scully,
out
I'm glad you got to hook up with Kondo in Chicago. That
was man. Thanks for setting that up. That was really great. He was the one that hooked me up with Martin so I could go see the museum and stuff. That was a great trip, man.
That's another guy we should have on the chat here is Mike Kondo. Big up to Mike Kondo in Chicago. It's like one of our Chicago affiliate compatriots. And
great host. He's a great host if you're in Chicago.
oh, Gloria.
Oh, so cute.
Gloria is so glorious.
Look at that kitty.
I'm at that point now in the tour where I think I finally feel like comfortable about everything, about the amount of material I've had to learn, about the amount of stuff I've had to put together, the setup I've had to build, and all the rest of it. It's not. It doesn't start to feel right until you know you've got like all the bolts tightened. But man, it's taken months. But I'm telling you, I'm so anxious to play this show for you people out there. I'm sure you're going to be just blown away. I've tried to ensure that that's the possibility, and I really look forward to it.
Yep.
You guys, I think we maybe might hold the record here for the longest chat.
Oh my God, was it how many hours? 3 hours?
3 hours?
In 5 minutes, we're at 3 hours. And I want to thank you guys, all of you. You've all played a huge part in everything that goes on here. It's, you know, what could I do without you? What can I do without you, friends? You got anything else to say out there, Mark?
Yeah, it's late here. It's still winter. It's nice to see you all. Nice to see you all.
Yeah, nice to see you guys as well.
Always good to see
Yeah.
Mark.
Always good to see you guys. I can't wait
Yeah.
to see you guys in person. And until then, like let's just say thank you, and thank you guys for supporting, and thank you for everybody in Patreon for dropping in. And if you hung this whole time in the chat, you deserve an award of some kind. As Dre says, smash that like button. Apparently that counts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Algorithm.
Oh, Glory's just asked if she gets royalties for being on your Patreon site.
Oh, definitely.
People will
Especially
talk.
Yeah.
as long as she has. Oh, I see Eric's got the fish shirt on too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I see Simon's got the Cats in the Music shirt on.
Yep.
Kelly, didn't we get you a shirt? Oh, look at the markings on Gloria.
Oh, wow.
Okay, there you go. That's another favorite right there. Simon, thank you so much for all the imagery you do. I absolutely love it, and I don't take you for granted. You are the best. Eric,
Fun to do every week, yeah.
all the best to you in Oklahoma,
was-
sir.
Oh, I was just going to say one thing. You know, those images are so good. You should put them out as a book.
Yeah.
It's a coffee table book right now, isn't it?
Incredible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
I keep thinking to do one, but then Kevin keeps doing chats. So
Oh.
it's just
Oh, well.
doing them.
Like,
I'm like, I'll do one at
You can do
100,
like-
but it's 200.
I think
Do
I
one
think
every
you need,
year.
You
Like,
have to
I
do an
think
one
annual.
every
you're-
year. Seriously. Yeah.
I think you need your own graphic novel, Simon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
working on it.
Well, he's got his first book already, but that he's done the comics of certain Stucky and You and Me and Rainbows. Is that sold out, Simon, or still available on your site?
It's on demand, so I mean, you can still grab it. There's PDF
Awesome.
versions of it.
Where's that at?
I guess I'll post a link in the chat.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, go and check it out. No, it really deserves a book, Simon. Well, you guys have a
Or we
nice.
could challenge we could challenge Joe to get all of them on tattoos.
Yeah, we challenge you to at least get the ones we were talking about on the back piece.
The Joe Tattoo Challenge. Let's go, Joe. Let's go, Joe.
All right, you guys. Have a wonderful
Awesome.
Sunday
It's a
to each
chat.
and every one of you that are watching, and you guys out there, Dre, Simon, Eric, Mark, and Scully. And we'll see you again soon. But for now,
Take care of
big kisses.
yourselves.
Mwah.
Yeah.